Hey everyone,
Yo,
welcome
this
to another
was
episode of Real Talk Live. I'm your host Krypton Cage, and I'm joined here today by my co-host, the Viking.
What's up? I'm sad. My team lost in soccer, but I'm here to talk about Army that did. So what's
Yeah,
really
there's a
happening?
lot of
Yeah,
Army of the Dead talking today, and we are going to dive deep into every theory that we had, some theories that we don't even believe, and all that stuff we're going to bring up. And today we are joined by our special guest, Ascended Ancient.
Hey, what's up?
What's
Thanks for having me.
up?
good to have you, man.
Thanks, man. I love your show, man. I don't really watch many, but of the two that I watch, it's you guys and somebody else.
That's
That's
awesome.
I'm very happy with that. Thanks very much.
Probably Dave.
Yes, Dave. But you guys can pay me for saying that later on, okay?
Yeah, sure. So,
Oh,
let's start with you, Ascended. You saw the movie. It was highly anticipated. What did you think? What are your first thoughts?
Um, Honestly, you know what? When we saw the first 15 minutes, I think they should have shown it. Because I watched it in this and it was completely different. Like I felt like I just didn't like certain things in the movie in the first 15 minutes, but watching the movie altogether, it was brilliant. I loved it, every moment of it. I can't even tell you right now what I didn't like in it. There is no one bit that I was like, no, I didn't like that. Everything, I just loved it, all of it. Yeah.
Nice. And where are you on these theories that people are coming up with? Do you believe them? Do you think they're ridiculous?
Listen, as for like the time loop and stuff, I mean, I don't know, okay, but then you have stuff like literal UFOs that are in front of you.
Yeah.
You can't deny that. There is robots in front of you, zombies. I mean, you don't know how all this ties in, so you can't deny that these things are there. So the question is, who is making all these robots? Is it the government? Why would they make them? To watch? There's just so much to it. The time loop. I mean, whatever, and it comes from the weirdest, like the least likely character, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would expect someone like Matthias's character to do that, but he doesn't. It comes from like the most unlikely person to say that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is, I don't know, man. There's just, I feel like the rest of the things that they're gonna make, the prequels and the animated stuff, I feel like they are gonna be a big part of filling this in, especially the animated thing, the show, because I feel like they're doing animated specifically because it's easier to do certain things
Yeah.
in animated rather than filming it. And I feel like that one's going to fill in a lot of the missing areas. But yeah, just so many theories, man. I just want answers right now.
Yeah. So we will Sean will just, go scene by scene, I guess. Well, not literally scene by scene, but how it plays out throughout the movie. And we'll just talk about everything we've noticed and go from there. Do you want to start?
yeah. Well, are you putting it on the screen or what do you have? No, it's just my
Yeah, just talking.
memory.
Yeah.
All right. No, well, I suppose we can talk about the first 15 minutes then. I suppose. Um, yeah, I thought the first 15 minutes was better in the context of the movie than it was when it was released
Mm-hmm.
because when I was watching it, when I watched it when they released it, you know the bit where the little girl runs back to her mother and then the crate comes down and smashes
Yep.
them. I didn't really feel anything when I was watching it on my phone or on my laptop when it was released. But when it came out with the movie, I'm there in a dark room and I'm watching it. I actually felt something for the characters, and it was actually a mini story with that mother character. She was like a soccer mom, I think, at the start, going down walking shamblers, and then she finds her daughter, and then she loses her daughter and stuff like that. So I thought it was way better the opening 15 minutes with the movie, and I also thought that the music was more touching, especially when Alison Crow came in. Viva Las Vegas, she kind of had her own bit at the end. I thought it was way better for her. But yeah, the opening 15 was pretty cool. I don't think people said it's one of the best of all time. I don't think it's better than Watchmen. I think Watchmen is top tier. I don't think Watchmen will ever be touched.
Yeah.
But it was still pretty good. And yeah, to see some of the different kind of alphas and then some of the shamblers. I love that shot where the little girl's bending down to get the teddy bear because it reminds me of like George Romero's Night of the Living Dead or Land of the Dead or His Dawn of the Dead, where there's just a group of zombies just walking so slowly towards a human to eat them. And something scary about that. There's something scary about fast zombies, but there's also something really scary about hundreds of slow zombies coming after you. So I thought that was cool. And the part where Dave Bautista is coming out some sort of shop or store, and he's all in slow motion, of course, from Zach. And then the Chambers character has like a what's that gun called? It's just not a mag, kind of machine gun or something like that. And it just mows down one zombie on top of the car, and the zombie just deteriorates, and it just blood everywhere. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, opening 15 minutes for me was way better with the movie. So I'm kind of probably shouldn't have released the opening 15 minutes. I think maybe should have released maybe the opening scene where Zeus escapes the safe,
Yes.
and then he's overlooking Las Vegas. Then they should have cut him, and that's the one.
That's what I thought.
I 100%
that would cut.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, it was pretty cool. And you get a good look at Omari Hardwick's character as well, with his kind of saw, and you get a good look at. I just thought it was a good way to introduce the characters, and there was a mini story there with the mom and her daughter. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and the first, the scene that starts, we already saw it, like you said, and the thing with that scene is that we see Zeus for the first time, and we see what happens to the city, and when he arrives. I mean, not arrives, but when he was let loose. So that's interesting how even that scene plays out, because that will again tie into other theories that we have now. And the UFOs there are, I think at first I thought that was just an Easter egg for Area 51, because the reason why I spotted them the first time was because I was looking for it, right? Because it's Area 51, so you need to look into the sky, you might find something, right? So that's the reason I looked, and of course they were there. So I thought that at first it was just Easter eggs, but maybe not. Maybe they were just, maybe they were a reference to something that happens in the prequel animated show. So we'll have to wait and see for that. But I definitely think that
but the
there's more
aliens
to that.
The aliens was cool because I didn't notice until after the movie, and I just thought it's a good way of expanding the world without even talking about it.
Yes.
It's world building without saying there's aliens. It's pretty cool, and they go off at a speed where you can't really argue that that's just aircraft or the military or something. This isn't maybe you could, but when you have zombies, when you have robots, it's probably aliens.
Yeah, but that guy also says it though, like autopsy, and all that.
Yeah, true. But no, I thought that was awesome as well. And the military guys, wasn't one of them in Batman v Superman?
Yes.
Wasn't he? Yeah, Jimmy Olsen.
Yes.
I thought the chemistry between those two actors was pretty good for a short scene. So fair play to them. I don't think they're the best actors in the world.
Yeah.
But they did a pretty good job.
I mean, I could see that it was kind of, especially Jimmy Olsen guy. I thought he was just, he was not that much into it.
Best, yeah, you know what his best acting part in that scene was? It was when they're looking at the safe and you have all the military guys with the guns, and he's on the phone to the mothership, or on the walkie-talkie to the mothership, and he's just shouting over the guy, and he goes, "They want us to leave," and he's like, I don't know why. That kind of facial expression was pretty good.
Yeah, it was
like
funny.
That. Yeah, but other than that, he didn't have too much acting to do.
Yeah, and then he also says, when the other guy says it's fine, it's okay, and then he says, no, it's totally not okay. And I'm like, chill, dude.
Yeah. But it's pretty cool that he was in Batman v Superman.
Yes.
He was in Army today. Killed off in both opening scenes.
Yeah.
I thought people were going to be kind of angry that they killed him off so soon.
Yeah, but it's not DC,
Well, it's Zack, so hypocrisy and stuff.
Sure.
He was a comic book character. They would have had uproar over.
Yep.
Right on the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we go from there into obviously the opening sequence with the whole song, and the whole backstory of how they got contained into that zone.
Mm-hmm.
So that was also really good. There's so many Easter eggs there. One thing that I started, noticing after my first viewing was Van, his character in that opening montage. He had a saw, right? And then he was just mowing down zombies, and they were all shamblers. There were no alphas during that time, right? And then he was just using his saw for that. And he was saving some military guy, and he pulled him out of there. So those two are key points that I think are notable for we are going to discuss later on. What stuff did
Yeah.
you guys find interesting in the opening montage?
Then the
Well, I'll tell you one thing I actually didn't get. It was the when they were taking the pictures.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That felt so out of place for me. I was like, what? Because it's not even like, oh, if you said maybe they're taking some ID pictures. No, they're holding pictures of their families. I was like,
Yes.
wait, what's that about? That was very interesting to me. But that said, I should say I've only seen the film once. So
Yeah, no, I mean,
I don't think
I don't think that was explained either. But I don't know what that's for, as maybe it's traditionally for army military stuff, but I don't know. I'm not aware of that.
do you think that was a bit of a meta thing? Just a bit abstract.
Zach told.
I don't think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, you go ahead because you.
Yeah, Zach told in a video that they thought that taking pictures like that would be a cool out of movie thing to do, but I don't know if he meant that to have that way in the movie, or did he say in movie it was a cool thing to do? So I'm confused about that.
I don't think it was real in the movie storyline. I think it was something that was not. I don't know what the word is, but I don't think it was real. I don't think they actually stood there with a picture and someone took their picture.
But they
I think
had
that's just a way for the audience. I think it's a way for the audience just to get them to see who they are, what kind of person they are. So Van der Rohe is a philosopher. He studied philosophy. He graduated. We can see that
Mhm.
David Bautista's character had a wife and a daughter, something like that. I don't think it was actually real.
Yeah, but they also had that photo frame in Scott's house when he was, taking his guns.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean even Chambers. She was holding like a magazine with her company on the front.
Yes.
I don't think she had that company prior to the
Yeah.
apocalypse. I think she had that company when after the zombie outbreak was kind of settled down. I think that's when she created the business.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's possible. It's possible that that's not real, but
Just the way I looked at it. That's the way I thought of it when I seen it. Maybe it's false. I don't know.
we'll have.
Did you guys? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna move on a little and say, did you guys see the virtual reality sign
Yes.
that was in the corner? Because we spoke about this. Did you see that, Sean?
Yeah, I seen it after. I didn't see it when I was watching the movie live. But yeah, that's there's also another one about was it killing zombies or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Vegas, killed a few
Yeah.
zombies, something like that. It's pretty cool. And there was one of the tiger as well, Valentine, or
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are cool. But I don't think you wouldn't really notice those live unless you're looking for them.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a virtual reality thing personally.
Yeah.
I think because there's just too many like characters that have gone in depth. You know that film Free Guy, right?
Yeah.
It focuses around one person because that's the character, right? But this is a story about so many people in here,
Mm-hmm.
and the story is just it's a lot of stories going on at once. If it was just one person exploring the story, I just can't see them exploring other people's side stories for it, if that makes sense. So I'm personally of the mind that no, it's not a virtual reality thing. I think it's just the real world that is crazier than any fiction.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. No, but I think it was cool jumping into the film a little bit. Larry Fawn's kind of cameo was also pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And he was holding the card. Was it the seven clubs or something like that? I don't know, but isn't there some card that he always has in all his movies? He had Zach put in
Yeah, it
this one
was.
as well.
It's 4 of clubs, I think.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I'm
4.
not too familiar with cards, so yeah, but Four is a very popular number of people. But but then we had after the opening montage. We kind of is that what we went to go see Batista's character straight away? Was it after that?
Yes, right after that, we get introduced to them, and they go. Batista's scene with Bly Tanaka is, that's the thing that started it all. He wants him to put a team together to get into the casino to get his money right. Um, that is also interesting how that played out. Because you know that the guy Martin is behind him, listening to the conversation. He's there. He gave him the blueprint, and blueprint of the safe, and then he said, "Just gather your team," right? Um, One interesting thing for that is that he probably knew that he was joining. That's why he had he had his number on his phone called Possible.
Yeah,
What do you guys think that meant?
yeah. I was kind of a bit curious about that as well. That was it Tanaka that had his name possible on his phone? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So I wondered did like Tanaka did he go to other people about it as
exactly.
well? Different teams. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he wasn't too sure that Scott Ward was going to do it, so he had another team lined up to do it for him.
Yeah.
And then last second, Scott Ward calls him, so then he goes with his team because his team's actually been in Las Vegas before. I think maybe the other teams that maybe Rai Tanaka had sent into Vegas had never been in Vegas before, or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe weren't too familiar with fighting with zombies. So maybe that's why Lost Vengeance was high priority.
Mm.
If they accepted it, then we put them in straight away. That's what I think was going on there.
What if he wanted? What if he actually wanted Vandero, but he knew that he cannot directly get him to join, so he actually went to Scott so that Scott can make him join.
Well, Scott's kind of the leader, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like the Ben Affleck Batman. He can bring everybody together that kind of way. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think if he just went to, I think Vanderbilt would do it for his buddy if he came to him. I think if he wouldn't just do it for some businessman, he'd do it for his friend, for
Yes. Exactly.
Lost Vengeance, those type of people. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think he. Who introduced him to Van?
Who introduced who?
What? So who introduced uh oh God, what's Dave's character
Scott?
to Van? Scott, yeah.
they'd already worked together when they were in when they were part of Lost Vengeance.
Yeah.
They went into
Okay.
Vegas, and yeah, they were already a team. They used to be a team together, all that squad.
So what did they go in before for? Just to rescue people? I mean, what is Van gonna do there? I mean,
Well,
They saved people. They brought
if
people out from
Van
Vegas.
is the alien, you know, if he is the alien or if he has alien blood somehow or something like that, if he's connected to that, maybe Bly already knew who he was. So I'm just going to, give an example of Agents of Shield to you, Ascended, because I know that you've seen them. So
yes.
you know how they have the Kree creature, right? The blue
Yes,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, so
I do.
I think that the aliens in this universe is similar to that. They have the blue blood, they're stronger, and all that stuff. And the government are experimenting on them. All that stuff lines up exactly like that. And
Okay.
I think it's similar to that. But maybe Zeus was okay, not maybe, but Zeus was definitely something like that, right? He was a human, and then he probably got injected with the alien blood or virus, whatever, or both. So he has blue blood, right? And then the zombie baby that he gave birth to also had blue blood. So I think the baby was not a hybrid. I guess that was a pure zombie type, pure alien type thing. And then that's the reason why he was sad, because he died and he couldn't continue his bloodline. And I have a theory that maybe Wandero is also similar to that, similar to Zeus. He might be injected with alien blood or something like that. So keeping that in mind, that makes Vandero the most important to the government and to Bly Tanaka, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that Bly Tanaka knew anything about Vandero or what he knows or anything like that. I think he just I think he didn't say to Scott Ward that you need to bring your team together, all of them, and go into Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
If somehow Vandero pulled out or couldn't go, I don't think Bly Tanaka would be throwing a fit or saying that you need to get this guy to go with you. I think he was sending this team in because they knew Vegas. They were there before,
Yeah.
and he needed somebody who was going to be able to protect Martin and get Martin in safe, so Martin could do his thing, get the zombie blood, and leave.
Mm-hmm.
That's what his main priority was. I don't think it was. That's a good theory. It could be that, but I don't agree with it. I don't think that Light Tanaka knew that Vandero has alien blood or is from a different world or is time traveling or anything like that.
Okay, let's break something down. We can definitely say that the aliens definitely came from Area 51. Cool.
Yes.
We can definitely say that. We can definitely say that Zeus has alien blood.
Yes.
And that's why it's essentially a virus for his system.
Yeah. Or the virus could be separate, from the alien blood, because not everyone has the blue blood, but only he has
True.
the blue blood and the baby.
So maybe the primes just have the blue blood.
Yeah, not even the other alphas had blue blood though. So only he had blue blood and the child had blue blood. So I think that
He was the original one to be experimented on.
Yes, he was experimented on in the prequel, and
either by the government or by aliens or by both.
Yeah, that would be even
He was
scarier if they both worked
yeah.
together and then experimented on.
Or the government found out that he was taken by aliens, and then they decided to experiment on them to see what was going on. Stuff like that.
That makes sense.
What if
alien abduction?
What if it's rather that they had aliens and maybe they had some kind of ability, so they tried to give the abilities to the humans to try and make super soldiers, right? Because that makes more sense to me that they would use. Why else would you give someone alien, DNA or whatever, right? If they have something to give. So I'm going to go with the whole thing of they must have had something that they wanted to give to human beings, which didn't work out.
I don't think aliens would want to give that to humans.
No, but I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say they were working with. I was thinking more of there was either if we're gonna go, I was thinking more of like Roswell.
Yes.
The crash happens. The government has these crafts.
Yeah.
Maybe they reverse engineered the crafts, and that's why you had the 2 UFOs. Maybe there were actual human beings inside of them.
Yep.
With just alien technology. That makes more sense to me, rather because why would aliens watch it? I would say it's probably alien crafts that humans have, and they're the ones that are keeping an eye on it.
Exactly.
When Scott and Chambers. Well, we should probably talk about Chambers first, shall we? I'm jumping all over the place with theories, but I was going to say that when Scott and Chambers go to visit Zeus, or that's Zeus, to visit the new Zeus, visit Vandero, he's in a pool with an old lady.
Yeah.
And then you put the Vegas Zeus, they do their kind of baptism or their sacrifice in a pool as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's insane parallelism.
Yep. There's so much
much
like that, and again, I just think that there's more to Zeus and Vandero, even with the fight, that happens just between them and the way they look at each other. There's probably more there. Maybe before Zeus turned, or maybe Vandero was partially responsible for what happened to Zeus. That could be one thing. So
like they met. It's definitely like they fought before, or subconsciously they knew that them two had to fight.
Yes.
So, I don't know. It's weird, and then it's kind of befitting that Vandero would be the new Zeus after Zeus defeating him. A different way like that. It was kind of interesting to see how it eyes up into the final shot where Vandero emerges. But yeah, it's insane because I think they definitely have a history, or their blood or their ancestors or something has a history.
Here's a question: do you think? Okay, so if we're sticking with this idea of the military or the government somehow were trying to create something with Zeus, right?
Mhm.
And it didn't work with him, create the virus, right? Do you think whatever they were trying to do with Zeus worked with Van?
Probably.
Because
that could be
you
true.
don't really see him, you know,
Turn?
have the same effects
Yes.
as the other people did. So I'm gonna say that yeah, it probably did, you know, work on him.
What if he's a zombie but he doesn't get degraded like the others?
I think he's immune to the virus because of maybe the radiation, maybe because he wasn't fully bitten. I think there's some. I think the radiation may have stopped the virus from spreading so quickly or something. He's kind of half zombie, half kind of conscious of what's going on around him some way. So I don't think he's going to turn into a Zeus-like zombie or an alpha.
Yeah. Okay, so I think the history, the way it happened, I think first there was obviously the Roswell crash, right? There's a UFO,
Yeah.
there's an alien, they crash landed, and
Yep.
the government took the body. That's the same, right? And then they started experimenting. They have his blood. They started realizing that those beings are stronger. They are they have different properties than our blood, and they could use that to they could use that to. Okay, so here's the thing. Their idea should be how to replicate that, right? And obviously they cannot replicate blood cells and stuff because that's just not, that's not how it works. But they wanted to replicate the same properties for different blood. But um, what's the only way to do that? To create more of something? The
Own it.
zombies, the zombie virus, right? Inject it to one person,
Yeah.
and then he'll make more of himself. Maybe they also tried using robots for that, but that didn't work. So they needed an actual person, and that's the reason why they went with that. So now we have Zeus, right? He has the alien blood. He also has the zombie virus, and obviously
Yeah.
they were successful in doing that because Zeus created this entire army of the dead. But of course, that didn't go how it was supposed to because Zeus is now thinking and he's intelligent and he can, he doesn't obey their orders. So what they created is now out of control, right? Zeus is not in their control, and now Zeus has his own army and they're contained in that kingdom. So since they're not in control of the government, they said that, okay, let's just kill them all off. It was a bad experiment and we don't want that on our planet. And that's the reason why they sent the Lost Vengeance group, and then they, contained the zombies and they were going to nuke them, right? But then came the alphas. So things got even more complicated. And then on top of that, Zeus tried to create another. He tried to create a child, and his plan was to procreate, and so Zach, the way he described zombies was maybe they are evolved version of humans, right? That's how he described it. So going by that, maybe Zeus also thinks like that. They're more powerful. They don't get hurt. They can only die if they get shot in the head. They have these advantages, and they also work together. There's harmony, and he can command everyone. So there's all that. So he probably wanted to expand his species, right? And so he was creating a baby for that. And when he did, the fucking humans killed him. So I can only imagine his pain.
Yeah, I think the zombies are like a new evolution of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
As you just laid out exactly how they're different from, say, us. I think it's the next step, next evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Vandero, that's the reason he doesn't kill himself, because he's very, that's how he thinks as well, maybe. And
yes,
also
exactly.
I've got to say that when Zeus and the two military officers are looking over at Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
and the mothership woman who's on the end of the walkie-talkie or the station, she refers to them as the Horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
I
Exactly.
think that Zeus and the two military guys are three of the four horsemen. They go in, so the Alphas, Zeus, they go into Vegas, they take it over, they cause the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
The last person to leave Vegas is the Omega, the End, Vandero, who
Yeah.
now carries the virus on again. So I think those are the four men of the apocalypse per se, the starters, and then it will end with the Omega, which is Vandero. I think that's another cool thing as well to think about. But that's why I think Vandero won't kill himself, because he sees it as the next step of humanity. He doesn't look at zombies maybe as evil or as people that are trying to destroy the world.
Yeah.
Who started this virus? Why was it created in the first place? Maybe those people want to start it. But if you look at the virus, like you talked about the aliens maybe experimented on somebody and it was mixed with the zombie virus, and that's how an alpha or Zeus was created. It doesn't explain how the shamblers were created. Somebody was obviously making a zombie virus, or a zombie virus obviously happened without aliens as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you have shamblers and you have alphas, but the shamblers were obviously zombies. Like, or somebody was obviously working on a virus. It wasn't until Zeus, who got the alien blood or whatever mixed with the zombie virus, became Alpha, the leader, the king. So somebody was obviously up to some shady shit if the shamblers were created as well, because they're a different form of zombies altogether.
Right. And before Ascended, you say your part. Hiding TK here says, "Hey, new night, no longer on Saturdays. We're actually doing the show twice in a week. So today is going to be the Army of the Dead spoiler special. But next week onwards, it will be the regular show on both days, or something special on this day, but the regular show definitely on Saturday. So the timing has
Yeah.
changed, but a new day has been added. So that's the only change.
If something big drops, right, and we can jump on if we're bored around and do a stream about it. But usually Saturday is the news day.
Yeah.
If a big movie comes out, like, I don't know, Suicide Squad, for example, then we'll break that down with probably a separate video like this.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Ascendant.
Ascendant.
I was gonna say, do we know where they were taking Zeus in the beginning?
They were taking him to Iran.
Iran?
Yeah. So
To another country?
yes, I think they wanted to start an outbreak there, so that
Yeah.
if something goes wrong, it's just Iran.
So why not fly him out?
Is there like,
Because he
I
doesn't
don't know,
have a
familiar?
ticket.
Maybe you guys,
Sorry.
maybe you guys are familiar. Like, just
expensive.
think about it. American government, money, trying to control the world. For all we know, there could be massive oil in Iran or something like that.
Yeah.
And the American government can't get in, or they need an excuse to get in or something. So they
America
start a
and
zombie-
oil.
they start a zombie apocalypse, and the zombie apocalypse happens in Iran. So that means we need the American government to go. in.
Exactly.
But it's really
This is starting to make
fight-
more and more sense. It's
you
oil.
kill the zombies, and they get the oil or the power or something that's in Iran
Exactly.
that they want. They can't just go in naturally.
Exactly. You know how the government can plan all this shit. So it makes
Yeah.
sense why he was going there. It makes total sense.
So, were they gonna take him to the airport?
no, he was
Maybe they were
they were just gonna drive there,
I'm gonna guess that they were gonna drive
or a
him to the
private
airport
jet or
from
something.
LA,
Yeah.
from Las Vegas, and then fly out from there.
Yeah.
But why not take? But then I actually think if you've got
It's a
alien
movie.
crafts, huh?
It's a movie.
It's a movie. Yes,
Yeah.
but it's series,
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have to. It's not cool if we have them sitting in Area 51, and then the blowjob couple drive in and knock it in there. It's cooler if they're on the road.
Okay, how cool would this have been then? If you wanna take that down that route of, okay, let's say they take off from Area 51 in a big, army aircraft, aliens hit it, it crashes, leads into zombies. Would that not that could have worked? as
That
well?
would be
But my point is,
too on the nose,
Go on.
because Zach probably didn't want aliens to be too obvious in the first movie. He said that he didn't want to have everything in the first movie because he also wants the average audience to be, he also wants the average audience to like it and be invested in this. Most people don't even think about these theories. Like I showed this to my friend, and he just thought it was just an average movie, and I can see why, because without these theories and without paying attention to the detail, it seems like a normal movie, just a zombie heist movie, and then it ends. That's it, right? But then when you watch it the second time, maybe, or if you're paying close attention to the details, or if you knew prior stuff that Zach talked about this movie, then you'd know that there's aliens definitely involved, and there's some sort of shit going down with the government and all that, right?
There's enough Easter eggs, I think, there for general audiences if they want to think
Yeah.
about it. But then, if it's a bigger thing in the sequel, then the average audience member who watched it the first time around would go, "Oh yeah, the two guys did talk about aliens in
Yeah.
the truck." Or like, if zombies exist, aliens is not too unrealistic either. So yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
it.
this is not invincible. Like the
Yeah,
very
yeah.
first episode, they just blow your mind.
But like this one's called Army of the Dead. The next one's called Army of Thieves. The spin-off is called Army of the Dead Las Vegas. Who's to say that the next movie won't be called Army of the Aliens or something? You just don't know what the sequels could be called. It could have
Hmm.
it could have a team of Army of the something.
And he also said that the next movie is going to go to places that will blow your mind, and it's going to go insane and all that. So
You know,
maybe like Agents of Shield will
oh,
go to different planet and stuff like that. That would be awesome.
it'd be cool if it opened. The next one opened up where we're in space on an aircraft with two astronauts, and something happens and the virus gets onto the spaceship, and maybe that's
Yes.
where Zeus came from, and then they go back to Earth, and he's starting to turn and mutate and stuff, and then they experiment on him. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Because Zeus is a military man, essentially. I mean, he still had his dog tags,
Hmm.
Yeah, could have been a pilot, could have been an astronaut. Who knows what
But
it was?
this is another thing. I just don't see the military just experimenting on one of their own,
Oh, really?
and none of the. No,
Oh,
but
you
Not
know,
like
like
that
about the
would ever
military.
happen in real
why would you
life.
want to experiment on one of your own unless
You
they
obviously,
volunteer for
you
it?
obviously want to, you obviously want to see what's wrong with them.
Because they're trained and they're also very skilled in combat and in medical stuff, and they're obviously more enhanced than normal regular people, right? So obviously they want to test all of that on a healthy, strong, and skilled person.
I mean, we shouldn't just throw aside the idea that Zeus could have been an accident.
Yes,
Somehow
of
a
course,
virus
yeah.
gets out and he's the one that gets
Yeah.
infected. They manage to quarantine it.
He probably is the one who found the alien. That could be possible.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be like a.
Roswell crash doesn't need to happen in 1947, whatever, like in real life.
Yeah.
It could be like Hal Jordan when he meets
Yeah.
when he's a pilot, something like that. It could be something like he's a pilot meets an aircraft,
Exactly.
like Independence Day, where Will Smith knocks down one of the alien ships, and he goes over and looks at it, kind of,
Yeah.
something like that. Because Axe does have a lot of references to other movies in his movies. In this movie, he had like London or Werewolf in London, Apocalypse Now, the old Romero films. He's references to other movies in all his movies.
We still don't have a proper big budget blockbuster type mainstream movie for the Roswell incident, and that fucking sucks. So I'm so glad that Zach
Dude,
is including that in the movies.
I mean, why don't we have a Roswell movie till now?
Right?
It's what a shame. We had a bit of Project Blue Book, but
Yeah.
that wasn't really into that. Dude, I tell you, man, what a big opportunity. Someone call Zach.
I mean, he's already
This was
doing
a
it.
cheap.
There are so many hints and stuff that he already said in interviews that he's going that route. But I don't know if he'll actually film a scene with that, because that's what I would love to see. What his UFO would look like, what the alien would look like.
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
because because it's not going to be a human being.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be.
It would probably be
has
a
to be something-
blue-skinned guy because his blood is blue.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that.
Weird and unique. Like, you know what fascinated me about like Signs?
Like
You ever
Martian
get into
Manhunter?
Signs? Yeah, yeah. But you know M Night's Signs. You've seen that, Casey? Yeah.
No, I haven't.
I have.
Oh man, I need to watch that. That's class. But well, it's about aliens. We eventually see the aliens, and would you agree, Ascendant? The best thing about that movie is the mystery. What do they look like? Like,
Yeah.
whoa, what do they look like? Because we never, for the entire movie, we get to see them chase people, but we never get to see the alien. People running away from them. They crop circles. We never get to see what
You
they
see
actually look like.
Yeah, I was gonna say you see like the crops moving,
Yeah.
and all that. That is one of the best parts about it. And sometimes
And
I would say it's best to go down the route of you don't
seeing
know what
something.
it is. That's
Yeah.
the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Well, I hope Zach does that for a while. I hope in the next one he doesn't show us what they look like. I hope it's teased, and then a big climatic moment. Maybe in the last movie, the reveal or something like that. I think that would be just keeps the interest.
That's something that would happen in a TV show, right? The whole season they would go without showing that scene,
they don't have
and
the
then the
budget.
finale, the
They don't have
first,
the budget.
yes, the first scene would be that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
just being, biased, I just want to see that scene
Yeah.
because I love that story so
Yeah.
much, and it would be awesome. But yeah, coming back to the movie, go ahead and send it.
So what's the next scene that was?
Yeah. So
what was the last
the
scene?
next scene after that was the Scott backstory about his wife, and I thought that was amazingly shot, and it was very similar to the Beautiful Lie scene in BVS. The way it was all these sound effects and their voices, how it was shot, and the music in that scene felt very Beautiful Lie to me.
Yeah, dude, I have to say, Dave Bautista, because we all grew up with him as WWE,
Yeah. The animal.
Yeah.
and his dedication to grow as an actor is incredible because he has come so far in every way.
Yeah.
I recall seeing him in. I'm gonna get back to this Army of the Dead, but I recall seeing him in 2017's Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah. Amazing
Great movie. And when he was in there for like 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But seeing him play that serious role, even for that little bit, for me was a big change because Drax the Destroyer isn't really a deep character, This was a great role for him to get into, and he even said in an interview with Zach, he was saying about how he rejected the script first, and then he accepted it because he read the script and he was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Now getting back to the scene at hand, I think this must have been a critical thing for him at that point to say, yes, I love this. This has just got so much heart and emotion in there where you have to literally, and he didn't even shoot her. He stabbed her in the head
Yeah.
because he probably still want her brains around the house.
You
Dude,
can hear the sound.
yeah. And his daughter just hiding in the bathroom. Dude, by the way, she's like 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love I love that scene. I think yeah, I don't know. It's just such a great scene.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it kind of reminded me of that Beautiful Lie scene, and it was so perfectly done. Even the music was so amazing. And then suddenly he wakes up in his bed, and even that acting was pretty good when he wakes up suddenly, and he was sweating, and he looks at his medal that he got for Lost Vengeance, and then he realizes that maybe he could go in and help, Blight and Akka, and that's what. Well, I know it's the movie thing, but still, that's how he got the intention to go.
Do we know how his wife got infected?
No.
It's just because he was at home.
Yeah, that's
And
what I
he
was
was-
thinking. She was inside the room, and still got infected. And I was like, who did that? And maybe she got bit at work
Yeah.
or something.
Maybe. I wonder. I don't know if Zeus. Like, it's interesting how Zeus bites somebody, they become an alpha. But if the alpha bites somebody, they become a shambler, a normal zombie,
Mm-hmm.
traditional zombie. That's fascinating to me. That's
Yeah.
why I think there's a little bit more about the virus where it came from.
I thought about that as well, and I thought it's probably that the virus is just, you know, you'll it's like DNA. As you clone something, it just gets
Yeah.
less and less potent. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I
I
was
think
thinking.
they definitely planned it, but I don't think they planned it to happen in Vegas.
Yeah.
That's that. But I think after that, he goes
The
in
Vegas
recruits
bit was definitely
chamber,
accidental.
which yeah, of course. But I thought the scene with Tig Notaro, where we get the first see her recruits her, was pretty good. Like I didn't really, unless you told me that Chris D'Elia was taken out, I wouldn't have really noticed that much. I don't think that she was just placed into it. Maybe in the warehouse scene, you could tell that she wasn't really there. But
Yeah.
I don't think an average audience member would.
First time
She's
viewing,
not
you
really in
won't
that
notice.
scene. Yeah,
It's
so I
not
think she was funny
apparent like
throughout the
Justice
movie.
League.
Yeah, I think she was funny throughout the movie. And I like how it wasn't his old crew that all went. They picked up people on the way, like the Guzman. He was pretty good as well, and then he brought two people with him as well. One of them dropped out. Then Martin came along, so it was kind of a new team. It wasn't the team that got out of Vegas the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Just to say something about Chris D'Elia, I wish they kept him in, just because I know, and I do agree with you in saying that it's not very noticeable. Like, if it's only if you're a big movie person that watches a lot of films, you might notice that. Like, I think if we didn't know that, she was replaced into the CGI into it, you probably wouldn't even notice it because you don't even look at her in certain scenes.
She's super.
But I do wish they kept him in. I just want to say that.
Yeah, she's super. She's basically a comedian, right? So when I look at her stand-ups, and she has this monotonous delivery, and that's just how she tells her jokes. And even in the movie, that is how she speaks and how her dialogue delivery is. And I just love that she's just so tired of life, and it just feels like. But her lines are really funny, and I think her jokes are really really funny, and she did pretty good job. So I have no complaints.
I never heard of her before until she was cast or replaced Chris
I've
D'Elia.
seen her in Star Trek Discovery. That's it.
I saw that as well.
I only watched the pilot that season.
You're better off not watching it.
Yeah, I don't. I never watched anything with Star Trek before.
Really?
No, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah,
Lucky you.
Never seen anything with Star Trek. But apart from the
missing
first
out,
episode
dude.
of Discovery, and I only watched it because Nika Martin Green was in it, and she used to be in Walking Dead.
Yes.
But getting back to the point, I understand why Chris D'Elia was taken over. If it's true or not, I don't know. I don't know if it's true, but you can see why a company would not want that in their movie, especially a movie that's kickstarting a universe.
Yep.
That's supposed to be Netflix's MCU or DCU, so I understand why. And I think she did a great job. She was pretty funny. Some of her throwaway lines, especially the one on top of Vegas, is like, "What a piece of junk! Did he fucking spend all his money on the miniature?"
Dude, that line
brilliant,
was hilarious. When she was like,
Yeah.
she saw the helicopter and she was like, what a piece of junk. And then she was going towards the
Yeah.
helicopter and said, that guy just spent the whole money on the fucking miniature. That was such an out of movie meta
I like
moment for
that.
me because he literally did that. He created a miniature of Black Casino.
When she was cast, Zach sent her the original movie, so she watched the movie with Chris D'Elia in it to
Yes.
see what it was about and stuff. And then I bet you that dialogue isn't the exact same. I bet you she had a lot of ad lib into it as well, especially the scenes where she's on her own, like at the top of the chopper, like, "Oh, I'm just getting a sunbathe. I found a pool up here." I bet you that's all her.
Yeah.
I bet you Chris D'Elia had other stuff as well, but I bet you she had her own stamp.
Chris D'Elia is I really like Chris D'Elia. He did a show called Undateable, and he's very good at improv. So I'm sure that he probably did do a lot of like his own things of his own crazy lines here
Yeah,
and
he's
there.
a comedian too. And he was in You season 2, I think.
Yeah, he was playing a sexual predator and that, and then ironic, kind of ironic joke and everything.
Do you know?
He was pretty good in that, actually.
Do you know? We don't have to get into it, but do you know everything that happened around
I,
him?
said, I don't want
It's
to. I
best
don't
not to
want to
talk
No,
know.
no, we
about
don't have to
that.
get into it. But do you know everything that happened?
Yeah.
I didn't look into it because all of it because I don't know. I just don't stay away from that shit. I don't really like that shit. So.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even look into it either, but I just checked it like a few days ago prior to the movie coming out.
Listen, regardless of whatever happened, it's impossible for him to be still in the movie. It's just not how business works.
Yeah.
And
Listen, maybe in the next loop he's back. I'm just saying. No, they will never bring him back
yeah,
into it. But
it's just impossible to have, once a person
I
becomes
Actually,
a controversy, they become a liability to your whole franchise or business, whatever. So business wise, it just doesn't make sense to have him there. It's, like I said, it's business, so Netflix wants business. So the right thing to do was cut him off, and they did. So
yeah, she did an amazing
regardless
job.
of
She
what
was.
they believed or what they didn't believe, that's
Yeah.
not the point.
Look, we never got to see him in the roles. We can't really miss him.
Yeah.
But Tig is that character.
well, we saw that
She
one photo.
on for yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I demand
he could
it.
be easily photoshopped out, but Tig did a great job, I thought, and she was in a lot more of the movie than I thought she would be, and I thought she would just be the pilot, so you might see her at the start, at the heist, and at the end of the heist. But she was in a good lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's the question: do you think they cut some of the scenes out with Chris
Probably.
because they didn't want to? No, what I mean is specifically that if Tig Notaro did do the film herself, there would have been a lot more films. There would have been a lot more scenes. Sorry, but because of like the CGI and all that stuff, they just took the scenes with Chris out.
Yeah, probably.
Because sorry, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say because I felt like there wasn't too much of her though.
That's because
Well,
their role was not that big. It was always going to be the helicopter role, and he was not in the movie anyway that much. Steven said that before, and he went to the
yeah, he
set
said that on
visit.
the Joe Rogan. He said that on the Joe Rogan podcast as well. I remember listening to it
Right,
before all the stuff
right,
came
right,
out.
right, right.
That
He said
I'm
that
in
on
this
their
new
thing.
Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm only in a small bit of it.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I
Okay.
think she was in the main story beats though, like the recruitment part, the discussion about the heist, the actual kind of in Vegas, and then the ending. So I think she was in maybe more of it than most characters.
Yeah, I thought she was more than what I was expecting, because from what Steven said and from what he said on Joe Rogan, I thought that it was very, like, maybe 4 or 5
Yeah,
scenes in total. Like, but she was very much involved throughout the movie, and I felt like maybe they also added some scenes with her just talking to herself and Dave calling and all that, right?
uh,
Maybe they also added just to
I,
give her more time and more character.
she got to shoot with the Chambers actor.
Yes.
Uh,
Not Chambers. I think she
Schmidt.
shot with Anna, because there's one scene where she picks up a tank and then drops to the helicopter and then she goes back, right? I think that's the only scene where they both are in the same green screen thing.
Which one's Anna?
Anna is Maria Cruz.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Maria.
So
Yeah.
that she's the only one who was with her in that helicopter scene. And then the rest of it was she's always in the helicopter, and then Dave Bautista and all, they're going back to the helicopter. So
Yeah.
I think it was that scene.
And I was taken out of the movie a few times because I knew that she was only implanted into it when a few of the actors would say her or she,
Yeah.
because that was definitely he.
Yeah.
And then it was funny because Dave Bautista's character Scott is like, "All right, bud, okay,
Yeah.
bud." You know, I was like, "There we go." I can notice that. But do you want to talk about the heist discussion and like the manifestation from Dieter about how it would go?
Yes, I was getting into
Dude.
that scene, but
They totally played us on that. Because
welcome Nicotina and Igor. Thank you for joining us. And yeah,
I was just gonna say I thought, because I'm sure we all thought the same thing of this would have been the actual heist
Mhm.
with them shooting in that circle.
Yeah.
That is the vault, dude. I mean, none of that was real. Zach played everybody. Even the Justice League tapes were fake, never existed.
Yeah.
Wow, he played it well. So this means that I just can't trust Zach in the next thing he does, personally.
Yeah, but also
It's worse. It's worse false marketing than Justice League 2017.
but also the thing that is the thing that is fascinating about that to me is so the way it starts, Bly Tanaka gives this speech, right? And then that fantasy sequence starts, and then they're in a circle, they're shooting, the music is playing. That's so tropey and old school how it goes always. But then what I thought was maybe that all that is it has to be someone's fantasy, right? Someone is thinking that way, right? So I think that was Dieter's fantasy, and he was because he has no prior knowledge of how zombie killings or what weapons to use and how it goes, right? He probably just saw it in some fictional movies or games, and that's where his knowledge comes from. So based on that, he created this fantasy that they would all be like this, shooting just like Call of Duty style, just firing at all the zombies, and they're all just easily dying, right? And that was his fantasy, and that's obviously not how it works. And then he also had this Walking Dead type bat in his hand, which Zach said that it's the most impractical thing to have in a zombie outbreak. Well, at least in his zombie outbreak, because his is kind of different from The Walking Dead, and so and then he also is the one who stops midway to ask a question to Bly, right? So I think a lot of that, and then the Snyder Cut thing in the vault, and the machine guns. So I think that he is someone who admires art and artists, right? So I think he would probably, if the Snyder Cut thing was existing in that world, he would probably be a supporter of that because he supports artists, right? So maybe in his mind, it was like, oh, that vault has cash, it has these rare Saddam Hussein machine guns, it has the Snyder Cut, and he would probably be that type of guy. So I think the whole fantasy is created by him, and that's what we see. Now, I don't have an answer to what the Saddam Hussein AKs are, the connection to that, and why he would find that fascinating or that to be inside the vault. Um, he also is the only one who knows how the vault looks like. Without the others probably don't know what the vault looks like. He knows it because he's seen the other vaults, other three vaults, and he only saw this fourth one the first time. So before seeing that, he saw it in his fantasy that he created, and it was kind of accurate, right? It was almost exactly like that. So I think that the fantasy is totally Dieter's. I've tried justifying that with other people, and only Guzman comes to mind because he's the social media influencer and this funny type of guy. But I don't think, and he also has a history with killing zombies and stuff. But I don't think that the fantasy would be done by someone else other than Dieter. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that it was this kind of fantasy, but it's funny how like a lot of those shots were in the trailer. The shot where they're flying into the sun
Yeah.
was in the trailers. The dolly cam shot going around them all was in the trailers. That's pretty funny. That's pretty cool that we had actually seen none of this movie or none of the real heist.
Mm-hmm.
And I did find it interesting how he knows what the safe looks like, but it's different in his fantasy than it is in real life.
Mm-hmm.
I found that a little bit interesting. It was cool seeing the Snyder Cut in the corner. People were saying that the guns might be like Joker's guns from Suicide Squad. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't think it really is.
Dak said already
yeah,
that it was Saddam Hussein's AKs in an interview.
Okay, yeah, cool.
So that's why I was wondering, because even Guzman has the machine gun, the AK. He has that. It's very similar. It has the gold plating too. So I was wondering what connection is Saddam Hussein's AK to him?
We practically don't know anything about Dieter in terms of his backstory,
Exactly.
where he came from, or anything. We just know that he cracks safes. So for all we know, he could be a history buff. He could be, he could play loads of games. We don't know what his character's like
Yeah.
in the prequel.
Or
I don't think he looked.
he could just be a Saddam Hussein fan. Simple as.
Yeah, but like the prequel will be interesting to see, because I don't think he looks at safes as something just to keep money. I think he looks at them as something fascinating that can hold something so precious like those guns or some sort of cut of a movie
to another
or
realm, my friends.
yeah. So like that's all those things need to be answered. Why he's thinking is like that. That could be a philosophical answer about the
It
safes.
could also
Very
be a
look
literal
very much
answer.
like. It could be a literal answer. It could be like Van der Rohe as well, who's very philosophical. Yeah, but it's hard to know. Are these guys actually talking literal, or are they talking fantasy? It's
Exactly.
something that we don't know yet.
That's what makes it
You
fascinating.
can't rule it out. You can't rule it out until context is put to it.
Man, Casey, I was gonna say everything that you said about the vaults, the whole, that it is Data's, it is his vision of it.
Yeah.
You can tell that he is that kind of a character anyway. That would also mean that Zack Snyder does exist in this universe, and that the Snyder Cut wasn't released. That's why he wants to see it.
Yep.
And that's why it's there. Because when the Snyder Cut movement was happening, I don't think it was that intense, and it wasn't that big of a deal, let's say, in certain ways, than it is now, or even just before the movie was released.
Yeah.
So I think Zack did it in a way where he knew that the movement was happening, and he wanted to do it in a way where, yes, this does exist. And yeah, I think
when this movie was shot, the announcement or the talks they were not happening, and it was before the. So the talk started happening in October 2019 or November 2019.
Yeah.
Right? The movie was shot before that. So he was probably just adding that as an Easter egg for his movie, and there's a cut of it. But again, I thought that they would probably walk into there and someone would just have a conversation about it, right? They just notice it and just make a passing comment, and not just a big deal, but just a passing comment. Why would someone put a film canister in a vault like this or something like that, and then just move on, right? So just to bring attention to it. But again, that was just a fantasy, and nothing happened. But yeah, you're right. That would mean that Zack Snyder and his Justice League movie exists in this universe, hypothetically.
Zack did appear in the movie.
Yes,
he did
Zack
appear
did
in the
appear in the movie.
That could be some sort of watcher.
Yeah,
universe.
He was caught in a mirror shooting the scene, and then they were gonna cut out, but then he decided to keep it in as a cameo.
What? Why? It was just for the because I heard about that scene where you see him in it, but I didn't see it. But
I didn't see it either. Even after seeing the picture, I didn't see it.
So why would you keep that in though?
Just as a cameo, just like he adds Eli to his movies, and stuff like that.
Nobody's gonna notice. There's only buffs, the movie buffs.
Yeah.
So the people at like Netflix were like, "Hey Zach, can you take yourself out of the movie? Like this is literally."
They probably didn't see. Yeah.
No 100%. Well, I guess they didn't notice the pixel, so they would never have noticed that.
Yeah. But I think it'll be interesting to see if the prequel with if he has daydreams regularly or stuff. That could be something that's a comedic element of the movie. Maybe, I don't know. But I thought that was cool, and how kind of Bly lays out the plan, like it's going to be easy peasy.
Definitely.
Lemon squeezy. I will say lemon squeezy.
That was hilarious.
But
Dieter's expression goes just, wait, nobody saw what he said, and then he goes, "Excuse me, mister."
Only you can say that. And then T got a great line as well. So,
that was hilarious.
But and then the one guy drops out because it's zombies. But he stayed there for the entire.
His name was Damon. Damon.
Was what?
His name was Damon.
All right.
Damon Caro, Zach's stunt partner.
Okay.
So
that's cool. And we're fighting zombies.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Because that would also
yeah,
be one complaint, right? Because if they brought together a team and then they hear the plan, it's 100% someone is going to say no in real life,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if everyone would have said yes, then people would have like, oh, so they just wanted to recruit and then nobody complained and they just gave into it and stuff like that, right? So yeah, it was cool showing that one person backed out. So
I would have liked to seen them kind of have a confrontation over money. You know, when some of them found out that it was zombies and stuff, they could have said, I want more." You know, I would like to see, but everyone just accepted what
yeah,
they were given. 20 grand, yeah, sure, I'll do it. 2 million, yeah, sure. You know, 5 million, yeah, I'll do that for 5 million. You know, nobody really questioned the money against the actual stakes of being killed.
yeah,
So I would have liked to see maybe a confrontation about money, because at the end of the day, that's why they were all going in, was
yep,
for money. It wasn't to get zombie blood or just going for the experience.
yeah,
I thought it was Garrett Dillahunt, he was from the Walking Dead universe. He was recently gone from the show, I'll say,
mm-hmm.
a few weeks ago. His last episode, which is kind of ironic because his last episode was supposed to be last year, but then it was delayed because of COVID. They had to reshoot it back in October, and it came out a few weeks ago. So he kind of had two zombie show and a movie within like 2 weeks of each other, which was cool. And he was killed off in both of them, which is funny. I thought it was funny, and he plays two completely different characters in Fear the Walking Dead. He plays this really nice kind of good guy, and then he's just a complete 180 in Zach's film. But I thought it was like it's cool because Zach is a big he's a Walking Dead fan as well. He watched it from the start. That's why he kind of has like Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas
Yeah,
Wayne, Lauren Cohn as Maggie, you know, stuff like that, as Martha Kent. So I like how he has those kind of connections. But he's there in the suit, and he's like, "My name is Martin, and I'll be joining you in your mission." You know, so I thought that was cool. Actually, you could. There's so many stories you could tell. You could do a prequel of Martin and Blythe Tanaka about their relationship and why they work together and stuff like that. Just,
yeah,
just a cool world that backs it up.
totally. Do you have anything to add to that sequence, Ascended?
No, I don't think so.
All right, then we can move on to the.
All I will say is that I guess you can say that Zach is just waiting outside of the studios of The Walking Dead, wherever they filmed that. So, hey, you want to be my film?
Hey, I don't mind if he keeps doing that. It's pretty cool for me. I'd love him to direct the Walking Dead film that's coming out.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all that we can talk about that scene. I think the recruitment scene and the planning scene. They show the casino. They all agree they have to meet the other day, and everybody's in except that one guy. The fantasy is Dieter's. And then Bly asks him that, so do you know how are you gonna get it out? And then he says, yes, I know. So that's where the scene ends. And then we go on to the zombies scene where they have to enter into the kingdom, and
Yeah.
they take Coyote. They meet Coyote. Then they take Theo Rossi's character. I forgot his name. But then they take him and they go inside, and obviously they had to sacrifice him. And when everyone,
Can we talk about the zombies that were left out in the heat?
yes, go ahead.
Right, so these zombies are obviously stupid. They're not as intelligent as the alpha zombies. So if they're in the sun, they're not going to say, "Oh, it's pretty hot here. Let's move into the shade." You know, they're going to just roam around cluelessly. So obviously it's hot. So obviously they burnt. They burnt. So then they're just got weak and they're just dead. And well, I don't know how dead they are. But then Coyote said, when it rains, they come back to life for a few hours. Like that's creepy. Why did they come back to life
Yeah,
for a few hours? That's just insane. And that's something I want to. You know, it would have been cool if by the end of the movie they're trying to escape and it's raining or something, and they think everything's okay. They're about to escape, and then the dead zombies come back to life because it's rain or something. That would have been a cool, scary sequence. It never came back to them.
Oh yeah, I would love to see that where they just
Zach
rise
said
back
that he
up in the
was
rain.
gonna shoot, but then he said on the vodka stream, I think he said that. He said he was gonna shoot a scene with the rain and the zombies, but then he thought, um, that would seem such an out of place scene in the movie because suddenly it starts raining in Vegas, and it doesn't make sense. So he just gave it up.
But then again, I feel like it would have been aesthetically would have looked a lot not a lot. Well, I think it would have looked aesthetically in the rain, but it's a dusty kind of place when there's rain and you have everybody trying to work their way out of the zombies that are right behind them. I think that works.
It would be cool, but the entire movie is in broad daylight. There's not even a single night scene.
I mean, you can change it. It's not a documentary.
No, I mean the movie as it exists now, it's all in daylight. So if you add a night, there's no night scene either. So if you add a rain scene in that, it'll feel like it's just done for that one scene because it didn't feel like it was gonna rain. You know?
Closest we get to kind of it being any bit dark was when Banner emerged from the abyss.
Yeah.
Was not walking through. I think that was just from the clouds, though, from the nuclear bomb.
Yeah. But we'll talk about that scene. We'll talk about that because that scene is very interesting how it looks. So we'll definitely talk about that later. And
zombie tiger.
Yeah, we see zombie tiger for the first time. We see the queen zombie and the other alpha zombie. What I don't know if he has a name.
No, it's one of Zach's friends
Yes.
as well. I don't know if he had it.
His name is Spider, but I don't know if that character has a name. He's just.
I think he was just like the right hand.
Yeah.
Sorry, which character?
The other alpha zombie.
I think he like goes with the queen just to protect her and stuff like that. Like,
he's basically the
right hand man. Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, we saw them two for the first time, and we saw Zombie Tiger for the first time. The team sees them for the first time, and that was the face-off, the first interaction between the humans and the zombies. And then obviously Coyote just shot him in the leg and gave it to them. They just took him, and at first it was also interesting how at first everyone was like, what are you doing, they don't think, and this is not right and all that. And then as soon as she says that he's been hoarding women and lording over women, and also he's a rapist and all that, and then everyone said, oh, okay, all right, take him.
Let's be real, that his death was a very satisfying thing.
Yeah.
By the way, his character's name is Burt Cummings.
Yes, Cummings, right.
Yeah. So.
But then when he's brought over to like Olympus, is
yes.
it? Yep. Where all the alphas kind of hang out.
We have to talk about that scene.
Scary, weird. It's scary, but then the symbolism or the parallel when he sacrifices him and he bites him and he throws him into the pool.
Before that, let's rewind a little bit. We don't have Zeus there at first, and then he comes in.
That's just walks
the
in.
entrance of Zeus in that scene is so similar to Batman, and it also is a good nod to Richard Citrone, who plays Zeus, because he was basically Batman's Ben Affleck's stunt double. So his entrance with the tarp, and then he did it better than he did it in Justice League, I would say, because the tarp this time was in slow motion. It felt more scary because of the zombie environment, and then he slowly comes in. But then the Batman one had the awesome shot over the Grimstone or whatever it's called. So that was cool. But then his entrance here also was amazing. And then we see his staff. We see a head on his staff, and we see the mask that he's gonna wear later on, the helmet thing. That was on that person's head. So do you guys have any theories as to who that head is on his staff?
Yeah, I do. I think he's somebody who tried to test
in the lab.
Leadership. I think another alpha if we wanted to fight Zeus.
Oh, you think?
Probably, okay. Yeah. Probably, because right. I was just thinking, if you want to show dominance, what are you going to do? I mean, they're very animalistic in their own way, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it could also be someone who who tortured him in the lab, or there's one scientist type of guy who would be
Nah.
who they would hate. So it could be that person. But
Wh-
it doesn't
it-
make as much sense because that head looked like it was already a zombie. So an alpha makes more sense.
It's the head of Joss Whedon.
But yeah, that was awesome, and seeing his entrance was awesome. And then when he comes in, the next thing he does is meet his queen, and then he listens to the what does he listen to? Does he listen to a heartbeat? Do they have heartbeats? I don't know. He just probably listens to the movement.
Probably listen to the
Yeah.
baby's movement. Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe she. Yeah, that was cool. How that's get to see that she's pregnant without
Yeah,
anyone saying she's pregnant.
yeah. And then all our reactions is like, what the fuck? And I like that even Bert Cummings' reaction was exactly like us. He was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, yeah. But then he bites them and then throws them into the pool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of like re-emerging, like a new. It's like It's like a reverse baptism
Yes.
in a way,
Yes.
and it's kind of like
That is
Banner
that
has
is
no
very
vision.
good. I didn't put that together. That is very symbolic and 100%.
Yeah, and then like Van der Rohe was in the pool with water
Yes.
with an old lady
Totally.
near the end of her life, near the end of her life. So there's definitely a connection between those two characters,
Yeah.
or
Hold up.
even in the way they think.
I just had an idea. So, pool. They're both. Zeus goes to the pool. Van goes to the pool. So, what if Zeus is Van?
That is also one theory which we will definitely touch on to at the end.
Sorry, I don't want to jump ahead, but it just came to me when I was
Yes.
thinking.
Hold on to that because
pool-
that is definitely one theory we'll talk about. Because I saw
Mhm.
that some people said that. At first I was like, that's not possible because Richard Citrone plays Zeus and Omari Hardwick plays Vandro, so I don't see that being possible. But again, Richard Citrone was a zombie and he was in full makeup, so we don't know. And it could be. So at first I thought that was a ridiculous theory, but then it's possible because in movies like these, that has happened before, like predestination thing. So yeah, definitely we'll talk about that at the end.
Cool.
But yeah. So Zeus was doing that to Bert Cummings, and then the thing that I don't understand is what's Zeus's main goal in life or in death, whatever.
Simple. He just wants a simple life. Wants his like yeah. They haven't tried to break out of Vegas.
Yeah.
Like and Coyote said, look, if we give them something, they'll let us kind of roam around. They'll let us be.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to live there, kind of create their own kind of, like repopulate in a way.
Yes.
And
That's something I was
the
like,
answer to
why does he need to repopulate? So that
because you
also
see the
goes into the
Shamblers,
evolved humans thing.
yeah, because the Shamblers cannot reproduce and they're stupid. So, and like for all we know, Zeus is the only one that's able to impregnate someone.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know if the other alphas can do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they were trying to do.
Send it.
I don't even know where to begin with it. Honestly, they're just. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
All right. Then okay, then we
Really good theory.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, what am I supposed to say? There's just so many aspects of it.
Exactly.
I mean,
the thing is with this, our theories are also not as good as other theories because there's no context. There's no other movies. There's no prequels. There's no definitive answers by Zach. So we're just theorizing based on theories.
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And we can look at a few things and say, oh, okay, well, they did this, so it could be this. Based off those things.
Yes.
But there's just so much information that's missing.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin with because there's just so many possibilities that it can literally go down
Yep.
any road, you know.
I completely agree.
Yeah, but it's like the reason we have these theories is because of what was set up in the film, like
Yeah.
zombies, robots, aliens, stuff like that. So nobody is right because we don't know.
Yeah.
We only have one movie to go by.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
like
probably right, but just kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, if
We all
you're
think we're
right, we'll have this stream to come back to, and then you can use this. You know.
Yeah.
And I will claim my clout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then,
So like they're after that they're just kind of roaming through.
Yes.
They go. Are they they're trying to get to the safe then?
they go into the building where they find the blueprints, and they discover, for the first time, the previous
Right.
team's remnants. So, okay, they say that this is blueprints, right? And then they say that's the exact same blueprint that they have. And one of them says maybe Bly was sending different teams here and they failed. Zach also said that with each time they went a little farther to reaching the safe. So there were definitely previous teams that tried to get in there but failed. And obviously this is probably the fourth time. We'll get into that thing later, but this is the blueprint scene, and they discover for the first time that there was previous teams that came into here. And then he asks, and also I noticed Vandero's face during the scene. He was very stoic. He was unmoved. He didn't care because probably seemed like, to him, it probably seemed like, oh, I was part of that previous team, you know?
We should also reference he's the one who name dropped alphas.
Yes.
Before that.
Yes. So before that, he was also the one who name dropped alphas before Coyote explains to them what alphas are. So that's also one point to keep in mind. And then in the blueprint scene, he was saying nothing. He never said a word. He just kept quiet. And even when Scott brought up that it could probably be previous teams, he said nothing. And he was just listening and watching. Not even expressions of surprise or, curiosity or anything like that. And then he asks the Martin guy, do you know about this? And he says, news to me. By the looks of his expressions, it seems like he was lying, but it also feels like he probably didn't know and tried to cover up for his boss, so it's hard to read his face because from his expression it does seem like he's lying, but then it could also be that he doesn't want to paint a target on his back so that they don't ask him more questions. So he probably didn't know, but still he said that he doesn't know, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't think he went in with the other teams.
Yeah.
But like, if Bly Tanaka did send in the other teams, then how was he expecting to get the zombie head or the blood?
Exactly.
So I'm kind of interested about. So maybe Martin was with them, or maybe Bly knows that this is a different timeline and Martin lives in it. Martin goes through every single timeline, but Martin doesn't remember. So I don't know.
Can we just agree that Bly Tanaka definitely knows way more than he was letting on?
I don't think he knows about aliens or time loops, but I think he knows about something.
I definitely think he knows about the aliens because he was working with the government people.
Yeah,
he could know about them, but I'm not saying for certain he does, but he definitely knows something more.
Yes, agreed.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. Because he was disappointed. He was really disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, he was going to get rich because, 250 million is nothing compared to the billions that they would pay. Because if it is true that, yes, they do want to make an army, first of all, against who, right? I mean, you're living generally very peacefully on Earth. So who do you want to infect or who do you want to kill?
Well, against the other countries, they would make the zombie army because they're expendable anyway. So they don't have to send in or risk human lives and sacrifice them in order to win wars. They could just send in these dead people and they would win wars for them.
I think he looks like he's not doing too bad for money.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was doing it for the money or more he was doing it for the recognition.
Yeah.
For
I
the,
mean, Blythe Tanaka, the
the-
creator of zombie armies, would make him even more rich, or whatever.
Yeah.
His
Or-
status would
yeah,
increase.
the man who captured or killed Zeus and the Queen and was able to
Yeah.
give the government the cure to save the world from zombies or something like that. Like everyone wants a legacy.
Yeah.
His money, like he has money. Maybe that's why he wanted his legacy to be.
It would be a huge advancement in American warfare to have that kind of army and not make human lives sacrifice in wars and stuff, and they could easily have a very big advantage against other countries. So that's actually a brilliant idea.
But I'll tell you why that doesn't work. Because why would you have if you can build cyborgs essentially with human skin, right? Because they look very human until you shoot them. Why would you care about zombies when you could make those robots and mass produce them like it's nothing?
Because the way the
Because that go on.
because the way the zombies work, they have their own thinking, sort of, and then they listen to the commands of the alpha. So they wanted to create the alpha zombie who would command these other zombies. With robots, it's very uncontrollable, or they're just go in there and shoot or just get destroyed. That's it. But with zombies, you'll have tactics, you'll have strategy, you'll have command, you'll have a alpha zombie who's thinking, who has intelligent ways of doing things, and he would actually go in and make a difference. So that's a very
There's also
much evolved thing than cyborgs.
there's also
And money,
it could
obviously.
be
These are free.
yeah.
Free
It could
zombies.
actually be a zombie, but the government could have captured some alphas, right? They brought them into a lab. Instead of killing them, they put some sort of device in them so they can track where they are
Yep.
and they can see through their eyes, but they don't damage the brain, so it's still an alpha.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they place them back into that society, and the alpha thinks they're okay, but they're actually, their only part of their body is their eyes. That's robotic or some ways, so the government can see through and see what they're doing. But the brain is still of a zombie. I think that's maybe something that could be looked at. But didn't Zach gave two options? One was government, and the other was aliens. Which was second in that when he said that?
For what?
I don't
The
know.
robot zombies?
Yeah, he said it was either the government or aliens. Which came second in that thing that he said?
He said the alien technology was second. So first he said that
Why?
it could be, and for the first thing that I thought also was instantly when I saw that, I thought, okay, this is probably made by the government because it's basically a cyborg robot thing, right? So it could be sent in for surveillance because they cannot enter into this kingdom. So that's the first thing I thought, and I didn't think that was alien technology. That didn't come to my mind, but then he said it.
I think he just threw in the alien to throw us off. I think he meant the first thing.
Exactly.
He said it was the real thing. Yeah, so he's like, oh shit, aliens as well. With it.
Yeah.
Did Zach say himself? Did he say that they are robots?
Yes.
Did he say it himself?
He confirmed that it was
Okay.
robot zombies because obviously it's very noticeable that one robot, one zombie whose face tore off, we can clearly see the metal
Yeah.
chin. So that's definitely a robot zombie, right?
Uh,
But then,
Man, the shit that I was getting online because I posted the alien,
Yeah.
the robots, the baby, and the glowing eyes, and people were like saying, "Oh, why do people keep saying there's robots in the movie?"
I know, right?
I'm like, because that zombie has a metal jaw,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're like, but the director admitted. I says, "Yeah, send me a link. Look for it yourself. The director said it. It's not that."
Yeah.
The only reason I say is that did Zach say it himself is because, maybe it is a side effect of the virus that it makes your skin, your bones metallic in a way. That's why I was just thought of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just a question. But he said robots, so it's definitely robots, and it's not
Yeah.
a part of the virus.
Yeah, because your theory, the thing you say is is probably it could have been possible if we didn't know that robot zombies were a thing, because obviously this is a new zombie world and the rules here could be different. But then it was
Yeah.
only a few, and most of them were just traditional Shambler zombies. So that's where I was like, okay, no, this is definitely a robot, and obviously the government is experimenting and shit. So why wouldn't they, send a surveillance drone type of zombie inside, right? So that was cool. But then he didn't confirm it. He just said that what if it's a government, surveillance government robot sent in for surveillance, or what if it's some alien technology? So he didn't say it is, but he asked it, which means it's robot, the government thing.
Yeah, he said there was zombies with the zombies that aren't zombies.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he confirmed that there were robot zombies. So
Yeah.
that's for sure. But who sent it or where it came from, that he didn't confirm. But my theory is just that, yeah, they're made by government and sent in for surveillance. And dude, it's David says, my theory, they're not robots, but the blue thing is like self-destruct so it doesn't spread. I think the blue thing is the blood, like I saw from the movie itself. I thought that was alien blood, and when I brought it up to some people, they said that why would they have alien blood? And I was like, bro, Area 51 is involved. They're experimenting on aliens. Why wouldn't they have alien blood? And Zeus is so powerful and special amongst all these other alphas and stuff, right? So he must have some kind of alien heritage in him. And the blue blood is not for every zombie, it's just for Zeus and the baby. That is
That's
very
not
important.
it's not a bad theory that the government were able to put some sort of liquid or gas in Vegas, so if a
Yeah.
zombie bites somebody, it doesn't spread. That's actually
Yeah.
not a bad theory. That some of the zombies have that in them. Actually,
Yeah.
wouldn't be against that for a theory. Maybe that explains why Vander wrote it and turned so quickly. So that's actually,
Probably.
I wouldn't say that theory isn't 100% wrong. I don't think it's true, but that's actually not. It's not a bad thinking of the
And that would
of the zombie.
also and that would also that could also be included in the nuke. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
just be a bomb. It can be a chemical inside the bomb. So that's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, the next thing the next thing where we go into here is the zombie army garment and all that stuff was talked about, and then yeah, okay, so they go into the underground vault thing, and then we see uh, we see zombies for the first time, and he shoots them, right? They both shoot them, and then Dieter just getting scared, and then he sees
The dance he does is brilliant with the Elvis song.
yeah.
And then
Dieter just shoots the bride 4 times, and then he says, "Oh look, I shot her! I shot her 3 times!" And then Vandero puts his hand up and says, "Actually, it was 4," and that's it, right? And then he actually did shoot her 4 times, and then he says, "That was funny." It was like, "Who's the zombie? Who's the not zombie killing material now, Mr. Vanderho?" Like, wow.
yeah, good. It's very funny.
What did
But
you?
it's
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna talk about dancing more. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say because you did skip over the fight scene that came prior to it with Samantha Wins.
We're only talking theories.
Just doing Furious, okay? Because I just want to say that was one of the coolest
No, I
things.
only meant
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
awesome.
I missed that. So that was also cool. Like the
Did you even watch the movie? I'm just kidding.
Look, I wrote down the entire thing here, but I somehow missed that because that was not important to my theory. So
Well, Samantha,
yeah, that
she
was a
could
cool
be
scene
playing
though.
the alien. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to say that was pretty freaking cool. And
Yeah.
but you know what you could say is that maybe it was always with Garrett Dillahunt's character. It was always a part of his play to always get rid of them one by one, where he would just
Yes.
take the head and just, leave.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say this before as well with the map and stuff, and I forgot about it. But the whole thing of maybe with Blythe probably did send other people in, But it came to this thing of, if they couldn't do it, just do it yourself, and that's probably why he sent him in this time. But then I also wonder why they would try to break into the vault, like the other people that were there, the dead bodies. Like, why would they break into the vault if, that wasn't there?
Everyone's intention who went in was to get the money, and the Martin was just with them.
So then, are we going to say that Martin went? Are we going to say that that Martin that he went in that time as well, but he couldn't get it, or?
Well, if we just entertain the loop theory, then Martin has been in every single one with different teams.
Firstly, you guys are skipping. We are going to lead up to that.
It's all connected. That's the issue.
We're talking about the zombies that look like the team in the vault.
Before that, there was the speech. So that's the next thing on my list. Hold on. So they go in there, and then they do the shooting, and then they go further inside, and Dieter sees the dead bodies, right? And then he says, he's trying to cut the bars. Who would do that? It's so stupid. He says that, right? And the person who died beside the bars was Vanderho, and he had some sort of saw in his hand, and he was pointing that out and saying, who would try to cut it? It's so stupid, right? And who's beside him? Vanderho. And then he just explains the whole thing to him. He says, what if it's us from a previous timeline, caught in an infinite loop, death and rebirth, and he says all that shit, and then he said at the end, boom, and then he blasts the thing, right? So from what when we see that, it seems like he's just fucking with his head, like he's always doing, and he's also basically fucking with our head by saying all that shit, right? Because that's the stuff that would probably happen if you see dead bodies who looked like our characters, right? So what if the other layer deeper inside there is that they want us to think that they're fucking with us by having it there? What if some sort of timeline or time loop thing is actually happening there? Because one of the things that, so the clothes are very similar, and all the characters kind of look the same, and then Scott's character, the way he died, with the head up, and he's exactly like that in the dead body too. But then the one thing that I cannot overlook is the key. The key that Maria Cruz's character had, and she had 4 holes inside the key, but the dead body there had just 3 holes. This is where the fourth timeline, or the 4 thing, comes into play, right? So people are saying that there's too many 4 references in the movie. There's the 4 Horsemen. There's the Liberace at the beginning saying 1, 2. Okay, so one more thing that I noticed with the Liberace is he says 1, 2, 3, and then while he says 4, he does like this, the hand gesture. He points downwards. So could that mean this is the 4th timeline? Is that what his hand gesture means? So there's that, and then there's other things with 4, and a lot of stuff like that there's also a snooker ball on the table, and when we see Vandero for the first time, they're talking, right? Scott and Cruz and Vandero. We see a snooker table, and the only ball facing towards us has the number 4 on it. So there's a lot of stuff like that, which suggests that 4 is kind of an important number in this movie. But the key thing is the most important and the most telling thing to me, at least, that one would have 3 holes, and then the one who is in the present has 4 holes. That says something to me. I don't know about you guys.
Honestly, this whole thing of 4s, I don't know. I don't really know about the whole time loop theory, because it just look. The whole thing comes from just him saying that one thing of we're in this infinite time loop, but it also does feel like yeah, he's just messing with them because these people have the same similar clothing. For all you know, Bly was the one that said, "Hey, wear these stuff." You know, I don't know about. I don't know if I buy the outlook. I would love for that to be the true thing that's going on because the characters are so great. Like Guzman, I mean, how can you not love him? Samantha's character, they're all just so great, and I would love to see them again, but in a way where, where they survive, you know.
Yeah.
But I just cannot see the time loop theory happening. But then on another side, I can because I feel like maybe it's not even a time loop. Maybe it's people going to the future and they're coming back. You know, it could just be that because as I said before, like I was thinking that maybe Van is Zeus, and he's just from the future. He lived it. He came back. I don't know. Who knows? Oh God! Now I just realized people say that aliens are from the future, or it could be people from the future coming back to watch us. What if he was one, and then he came back, and I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. There's just so much to this. There's just so much, man.
That's where I come in from this movie point of view too. Like I think that there's something related to time happening and timelines or something like that. I don't know if it's exactly time loop, and I think that it definitely isn't time loop because the traditional type of time loop doesn't make sense in this universe. But something related to time and some time dilation or timelines or something like that is definitely possible. So I think
Yeah, I think like we don't know. Like, the team for this movie was zombies.
Mhm.
The team for the prequel is the Sith. What's the team for the animated show? Is there going to be a team for one of the movies that's just about robots? Is
Cast
there
is
one that's just going to
amazing.
be just? Is there going to be one that's just about aliens? You know, like we could. Is there just going to be a movie just about the time loop? We don't know yet because we only have one movie to go on. We don't know anything else, and that's why there's so many theories. But when we see the next movie or the prequel or the animated show, things will start to kind of that ball, as Zach said, won't have as much spikes on it. It'll become round and smooth and stuff. We'll get to kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see where it goes. So I'm not ruling out any of this stuff because there is signs of aliens, of robots, and of a time loop
Yep.
in this world. And it's not just a zombie heist movie. It's not.
Yeah.
There's
It's
much more
definitely
to
not.
this. Now, Zach could never touch the time loop theory again. It could just be a philosophical thing from Van der Rohe because of how he thinks and he presents himself. But Van der Rohe is going to be in the sequel. But if the time loop theory is brought into it, then it's an interesting thing. Is it done by aliens? Is it just something I got to do with a nuclear bomb? Who knows? But it's interesting to talk about and think about it because I'm not ruling any of this out. And the thing about the four, you can argue that the four is something, and you can also argue that it's nothing. We don't know yet.
I don't think the
But I
fourth
do
thing is
think,
very significant. I just think that it's a hint
yeah,
Same.
hint
Same.
to a hint to something major that's going on. I don't think that four
but look,
is
there's
the thing to look out for.
yeah, like the say the four is to symbolize the four horsemen of the
Yeah.
apocalypse. Well, the four horsemen of the apocalypse, they symbolize famine, plague, death, and I forget the last one. Shit, I forget the last one. But that's what the
Zombies.
four horsemen. I think it's zombies. But basically, the fourth horseman, or maybe it's the first horseman, the main horseman. He treats everybody fairly, and he tries to lead through peace. And then people are thinking, why should we listen to the politicians and the government when we have this guy here who talks very nicely and he just wants peace in the world? So everybody follows this one guy, this other horseman, and then he causes absolute destruction in the world because he has everybody following him. So they'll do exactly what he says. That's similar to what zombies do. So I think it's interesting to think about. There's so much deep layer to this movie, and we don't know what's right or wrong right now. But Zach very much has thought this all out. He knows exactly what the sequel is. But I definitely think there is something there about the time loop, or some. It has to be because it's too big of a thing to just throw in there.
Yeah.
If it's never addressed again, then it's kind of just Zach putting it in there to throw us off for just the sake of throwing us off. I don't think he does that.
Exactly.
It will come back eventually. I think people aren't respecting that this is a universe, not just a
Yeah.
one-off movie.
If
people are
it's a
treating this
one-off,
like
I would
Army of the
definitely
Dead.
lean more into the time loop, actually.
Yeah, but like you could actually end this film and never have a sequel or a spin-off or a prequel, and I'd be okay with it because I think it's such a good
Yeah.
movie. But I want to see more of it. But yeah, I think I think we'll definitely be the time loop will be brought up again in some sort of theory.
Yeah, definitely. And then,
I
yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say one more thing about Van and the possible idea of him being Zeus. But it's because Sean said something about how like about the nuke, right? We've always there have been explorations of like, oh, radiation gave me my abilities and stuff. What if it just happens to be that Van got lucky because the radiation mixed with the virus in his body gave him the ability to become Zeus or something. I don't know.
You know,
That makes more sense to me. I'm just saying.
Zach said that he is the next Zeus and he'll be scarier than the one that, because I didn't think that this Zeus was that scary. He was very
Yeah,
comparatively
but
is very polite, you know.
does Zach mean scary as in menacing, or does Zach mean
Exactly.
scary and how no and how he could think,
Exactly.
how Van der Rohe looks at the world.
Exactly.
That's what I think Zach. I don't think it means. I don't think he looks more
Yeah.
scary in terms of makeup and stuff. I
Yeah.
think the way he thinks, he's the next evolution of
Yeah.
zombie. It takes millions of years for man to be generated. Was it from monkeys to what we are now? It's taken such a short space from zombies, shamblers, alphas, and then Van der Rohe was the next kind of the species of the zombies, the next kind of evolution. And I think he's more aware,
Mhm.
and he maybe even
And he was
talks
a
as
philosopher.
an
So he's definitely,
yeah.
by default, he's smarter than other humans. So that in zombie form is scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
That's what I think
definitely
you mean by
think that
scary.
his scary didn't mean physically haunting. It just means he's probably much stronger, much smarter. He's probably more aggressive. Because Zeus, look, Zeus wasn't as aggressive or violent as, as a typical zombie king would be, right? He was only he was only fighting against something that was bothering him. It was just not like, oh, human, let's kill. It was not like that, right? So what if,
They're not animalistic, yeah.
yes, what if Van der Rohe becomes this, oh, I need to conquer and make more of us? What if his approach is more aggressive than Zeus's was? Because Zeus just wanted to be in his own kingdom and, you don't bother me, I won't bother you type of thing, right? What if Van actually wants that, actively wants to conquer and make more of himself? That
Or
would make him scary.
or
He is a
or
soldier.
yeah,
Yes.
or stop the people who originally tried to do this. The
Yeah.
governments and stuff like that. Like they nuke. Like I think it's interesting because Zeus is probably the only one that can reproduce because of who he is and whatever's in his DNA and his blood. So he impregnated the female zombie, the
Yeah.
queen. She was obviously going to have a baby. I think that child would have been able to pregnate other zombies as
Yeah.
well, and that's how they repopulate. So in the meantime, he was getting people like the guy who was shot by Lily and
Cummings?
Geeky.
Cummings, yeah.
Is it Geeka? Is it Geeka or what's her Geeka or something like
Gira.
that? That character's name.
Gita.
So I think he would he would bite them to turn them into alphas. So that's
Yes.
another way of repopulating until babies were made. So then they could repopulate naturally.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
here's something
but
about
hold
that.
on. That's what I was getting to you ascended. Like you say that he got lucky with the radiation thing, right? Maybe again it goes back to like you said, it's just Vandero is Zeus, right? The thing you said. Maybe even if that's not a thing, maybe Vandero also had some sort of experimentation in the lab, and maybe he got injected with alien blood too, because to me Zeus's properties are different from other alphas, okay? Because he's basically the alien hybrid, whatever. He has the blue blood, so that makes him stronger than everyone else. So Vandero is also very strong, and by the end we see him basically getting bit, but it took him forever before he even transformed. He just felt sick, right? And we didn't see his flesh completely torn apart or anything. We just see a bite. And there's so many things like that. And then he resisted the radiation because anyone else would have just been killed in minutes, but he got out of there in full radiation. We could still see the heat wave and the sparks flying, so it was not like the radiation went away. It was still there 100%, and he still got out of there alive, and took all the things and went back, and then nothing happened to him. So you could be totally right. He could definitely have the alien blood. He could be Zeus, or he could just be another victim of the experimentation who also has the alien blood.
I would
And he,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say because like Banderon knew like to heat up zombie meat, so the zombie would go after it to trigger the points at the safe.
Yes.
And so he knew that zombies were attracted to meat that was hot and stuff.
Yeah.
His symptoms, he was cold when he was on the plane instead of hot, and his body was obviously fighting the virus because he wasn't turning straight away.
Yeah.
But I think what will happen is he'll get a fever, he'll probably get sick, but his body, because of the radiation, will beat the virus, overtaking him entirely. And plus, the bite wasn't deep into his blood.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. The next evolution of zombie. I don't think he's going to be a complete alpha like zombie. I think that's what the next evolution is because of his symptoms and stuff, and he'll overcome. I think he's a little bit immune to it, and maybe the next people that he bites might become similar to him fast, but aware, and maybe they communicate better and stuff.
And to Ascenda's theory about him being Zeus, there's one more small Easter egg in the opening scene where actual Zeus looks at Zeus and Olympus, and then on the screen we see Omari Hardwick's name. So
yeah,
that's also
and
cool thing.
the Omega tattoo that's on his chest. He has that in real life.
Yeah, I know. He also has one more tattoo here. It says Redemption Story. That's interesting.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy he lived because he's such a cool character.
Well lived.
And he's not cool because of how. He's not cool about like how he looks or the way he kills people. I like him because of his thinking, his quotes. That's why I like him.
So Ascended.
What I was
go
also gonna say is that if you at the end when Van takes the money, right? He goes to the jet. He gets the ladies on the airplane drunk, right? He has a lot of money as well. So what's gonna happen next? They're gonna make some babies.
Yep.
Alien blood babies.
Yep.
Just saying. No, I'm being serious.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's what I thought too. Like he actually has the first 3 people who would infect, and he already has a team to start with.
He has his new Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Yes, and he has 2 female
the pilot.
queen zombies already.
Yeah, no, I was laughing at the baby part, but I actually do think they'll be turned to zombies.
Yeah, definitely. Like that plane is going down with zombies inside them.
Yeah, it's quite. I'm fascinated to see how they what his plan is next. Does he go after the government? Does he try and look for more answers?
Yeah.
Is there time? Where does he go next?
There's also one interesting thing that Zach said about Mexico not having walls. Because maybe he was just joking, but he did say that they're landing in Mexico and nobody can build a wall against Mexico. He just jokingly said that, but then that's also true. Like in movie, probably they would protest against that and not having to build a wall because why would they? They wouldn't want.
It's kind of like I think there could be a political undertone there as well. Like about the borders crossing over to Mexico.
Totally.
Like Donald Trump wanted to build a wall. I think in this universe, a person like Donald Trump is president because if you go back to the news, they said that it would be patriotic if they had the nuclear bomb on the 4th of July without the fireworks. That's something like I just envision Donald Trump saying that as president. Now, I don't hate Donald Trump or anything like that. He's not my president. I think he's funny, but I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not my country, so that's why probably I don't hate him and stuff like that. But I think in this world, somebody like him.
Yeah.
So, like, wouldn't it be very politically a big political agenda for the American government to put zombies in Mexico, or for even zombies just to appear in Mexico, so then they could build a wall,
Yeah.
stop people from coming in and out. Like that's another tenet, like the Iran theory about the oil and stuff like
Because
that.
that lady who in that same news thing, she was saying that this is just in the concentration camp, the one where the Puma and her character and all those people were. She was saying that why they made that, right? If they were already infected, they would have been turned into zombies, but they didn't. But they're still keeping them there because you know how the government is with immigrants and stuff like that. So there's definitely
Yeah,
politics involved there. So those types of things would definitely play into the Mexico narrative. So I completely agree with you.
it suits them, like it suits their political agendas and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I think it's I don't think our theories are too wrong about the government trying to implement things in maybe Mexico or in the Middle East.
Yeah.
But
Becca says I laughed hard on that part. What kind of crazy person would do that? Yeah. I mean,
funny, it is kind of ironic and pretty cool. A nuclear bomb would go off 4th of July in America.
yep. Um,
It's pretty ironic.
Zach loves his irony in all his movies. The only movie he didn't have irony in was Man of Steel. And he also said that the irony of that movie was that there is no irony. So he loves his irony in his movies.
Yeah. So look, it's exciting to see where it's going to go, and like with Dieter saying it's a pathway, it's a door to another realm, my friends, and then he pushes Banner into it, locks it, and then he appears in a new world, maybe a new world, I don't know. But then on the plane to the stewardess, he goes, the flight attendants goes, a quote about rising from the abyss. Once you stumble, you find your path and stuff like that. So I thought that was interesting quote used in that moment.
Yeah, and then we see Zeus's baby dying. First we see her getting cut off, right? Her head getting cut off, and then they make the plan to take the Alpha Queen's head back. So we already discussed this, the government doing all that shit. And then when he takes the head,
And obviously Zeus gets mad because he can no longer get any head. I had to.
he can no longer get any babies. That's why I was mad. So he
Yeah.
wanted the full package, man. So he cut off his head, and that obviously upset him because the way this works, I thought that the way this works is probably they needed a male child in order to create an alpha. So he probably tried before and they didn't get a male child, and this was the time that probably with the queen he was gonna get a male child, so the alpha would be his successor, and or I would say heir, not successor, his heir. So that male child died in his arms, and obviously that would piss anyone off. Firstly, because it's his baby, she was pregnant, blah blah blah. But again, also because of this thing that he wanted to further his species, but then the only chance he had was taken away because of humans, and somebody cut her head off.
Yeah.
That was very brutal.
And Zach said it's a fucked up Lion King
Yeah.
scene where he lifts the tiger up, lifts the baby up. It actually reminded me of Mad Max Fury Road when the woman dies and they cut the baby out of her, and
Yeah.
the doctor kind of type goes, "You had a baby brother. He was perfect in every way." And the brother picks up the baby and raises it up and says, "I had a baby brother, or beautiful baby brother, and he was perfect in every way." Like that,
Yeah.
and everyone cheers. It reminded me of that.
Yeah, it was a crazy scene, but it was so Zach just gave so much personality to and emotions to the zombie characters, especially Zeus, because my favorite character in this movie is definitely Zeus. He was so well rounded. Um, he had so much presence to him, and he had so many emotional arcs in this movie. And then he had a purpose. Stuff happened to him. Even Nora just Lily just throwing the head of the queen to the ground and it just splatters. Oh, I felt for that man. I was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
this guy's gonna get pissed because so much bad happens to him in this movie. Like he lost his child, he lost the head of the queen first, and then he lost that too. So head and body both gone.
Yeah. He didn't bring the war to the humans. The humans brought the war to him. So
100%. They did bring the war to him,
So,
and
but that was
and I
that
and
was
I do.
very strange.
Go,
So
go
yeah,
ahead.
you go ahead and talk about the baby. What do you think the blue
Yeah.
one is?
So while you choke over there, we'll talk about the baby.
Here, you
I
can do
don't
jokes
think it's as deep as you get into it about he just wanted to make more for his people of having more zombies like himself. I just do think that he is in a certain way he's just a bit more intelligent, right?
Mhm.
He's not clearly not like us, but he is intelligent in how he is. He understands. Zach said himself that they do the nasty. He said that himself. So I guess he does have feelings to want to do that kind of stuff. And that makes me think about does he just want essentially the nuclear family of him, his but then again, I think about what is going to happen with the next generation of that would have been their child. Would that have been more alien, or would that because it did look a very alien?
Yeah.
Because none of the other zombies look anything like that.
Yeah.
So this just looks like because Zeus is human that has become zombie, well, a bit alienish, right? But his child would have been straight up
Mhm.
alien. So maybe that was always the goal with
Yeah.
the the military. This was always planned, and let's be honest, it's just a movie, so it could always been a thing of this whole thing was kind of planned. In maybe if they didn't, if Zeus didn't get out in the accident, he would have gotten out in another way. Maybe it was planned for him to get out somewhere else.
Mhm.
I can easily see that the military would be like, hey, we want the way to evolve the virus or something is we need more subjects. You can't just bring people in, So what do? You start if you start like a pandemic going on. Yeah, and that I don't know, man. It's interesting stuff.
yeah, like we could look at it both ways. Like the government uh, give them some sort of blood or something so they could have babies. But then why didn't they want the actual body of the queen instead of just her blood? Or instead of just her head, if they knew that she could reproduce and have children, or
I don't think
the
they knew.
alien blood or whatever.
Maybe
Yeah, that's what
they
I'm
need
saying.
love to have
These are-
babies.
No, but
Yeah,
also I don't
All they
think
need
I
is
don't think
love.
they knew that. And also who would
no, I
reproduce with
don't
her?
either. Yeah,
Only zombies would do.
I don't either. Yes, I'm saying they didn't know because then they wouldn't have just wanted her blood
Yeah.
or her head. They would have wanted her entire body to experiment.
Right.
The other kind of theory is that the baby would have been a more kind of evolved zombie again.
Right.
Would have learned like we all learned from our parents. So like it's all passed down, and we're supposed to be smarter than our own parents, and then our kids are supposed to be smarter and more involved than us if we
Right.
raise them right, stuff like that. So I think that's what was going to happen. Zeus would have raised this child, and it would have been more intelligent, smarter, learned from his father, stuff like that. Yeah, I just think Zeus wanted a happy life, a family.
He was the
Because the
best
zombies didn't
man.
fight with each other. Yeah,
And they took him
they
from
didn't
me.
fight with each other. Even Lily said it. She says they don't fuck each other over in here. Why should we?
Yeah.
That's true. So they. That's why I think. That's why Van der Rohe thinks that maybe zombies are better than actual humans than humanity is right now, because we don't fuck each other. We don't have war. The zombies don't, but humans do. They have war. There's famine. People kill each other for money and whatever else. set them up to go into Las Vegas to take out money that's not really that important. Next evolution, man.
Yeah, everyone who went into there with a selfish reason, like money or whatever, they died. And the only person, Kate, she went in for a selfless reason, was to save, Huma, and to get her back to her children. And she's the only one who survived. So there's definitely something there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So yeah, with that we have the scene with the baby, and the baby dies. And Zach said that when the baby when the baby dies, he thought of a scene where, did you see the vodka stream video that he talked about?
I did not.
Okay, so basically Zach said that he thought of a scene that would play out like when the child dies, right? He thought of inserting a flash forward type of scene, where we see several stages in that baby's life. So the baby, and then we see him kind of grown up like a child, and then they have the Zeus and the child have moments together. Then he grows up even more, and they do something else, and then he grows up even more, and then there's Zeus, and Zeus dies. So someone kills him, and then the baby is on the ground just saying, "No, father." And Zach said this was going to be in the movie, then he decided not to. But that would have been cool to see a flash forward of that baby's life, what could have been. But again, if he added that, that would have been so confusing to the already existing theories that we have.
It would have bought into the time loop as well.
Yes. Everything's happening all at once. The past, the future, the present. It's Arrival, you guys. Arrival with zombies.
Yeah.
Amy Adams will come in holding a circle.
I think he was trying to implement some of his Justice League arc into this world. Probably still will. He definitely still will, I think.
Definitely, man. Even the way Zeus enters the thing, and then we see him from top, and his red cape is flying, and he's carrying his queen and walking towards it. That's so much like Superman Lois carrying scene, and from Injustice and stuff like that. And then he puts her down and holds the baby. So even in Injustice, Clark accidentally kills Lois and the baby, right? And the scene where he's just yelling out and crying, a tear falls down. That's exactly like the Superman scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which he couldn't film because Henry Cavill was, busy. So he just had to use old footage, but he still recreated that scene that he already shot with Zeus. So I wonder if he actually got Henry Cavill, if that scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League would have been longer. Maybe he would have carried dead Lois like the same way Zeus did, and then kneel down, and then Darkseid comes. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't allowed to bring Henry Cavill back anyway because of what's going on with contracts there.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't want to give him a new contract, but that's a messed up universe. This one seems to be very much. I don't know if it's going to be crafted well because we have to see the other additions to it, but we will see the finale to this arc. It won't be cancelled halfway through.
Ironically, a zombie universe is less chaotic than DC. How fun is that?
That's totally correct.
Look, I love DC. I love Zack's world, but I'm more intrigued in this one right now because it's going to be like, it's so annoying because when he talks about like his Justice League arc, he names off all the stuff that he wasn't allowed to do by the studio or what he had planned. You're sitting there like, oh my god, that would have been so cool. It nearly depresses you. But now in this world, whatever Zack wants to do, he's going to do. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and also all these things are right up my alley, like aliens, zombies not so much, but I like these zombies. Like they are, because zombies to me always were like cannon fodder, right? Like parademons or something like that. They're just mindless enemy that you can just shoot off and it won't matter. So for me, zombies always never interested me, but then these zombies, they have thoughts and they are like humans. They think, they move, in an organized way, you know. So this is what I'm interested in, and surprisingly, my favorite character in the whole movie was Zeus, a zombie, and I never thought that would be possible. But then again, adding to that, we have aliens, and then we have time thing. That's just a bonus. That's right up my alley.
I feel like Zach went into a bowl. They put just some ideas inside, and he picked three things. Let me see. Oh, aliens. Okay, we'll go with that one. Oh, robots. Oh, zombies. Okay, let's work this into it. Cool.
At first,
I
I
mean,
thought that robot
this
thing was just a nod to Terminator. You know, just like an Easter egg. But then I was like, why would you even have that in there though? Because different zombies also had some of the other zombies also had the blue eyes, blue glowing eyes. So
yeah.
there's probably more
Oh,
than one robot.
hey, how cool would it have been if just like at the end, Dave Bautista shot Zeus in the face, and it just was just like metal.
Yeah.
And the simulation ended.
But I like this one even more because he's alien, and I love that, especially because of the way it was introduced to me via Agents of Shield and all that. I just love that Zeus is this special kind of zombie that has alien blood, and he was giving birth to another alien, and it will make even more. It will be of even more importance when we get to the other planet and the alien origin and all that stuff, and what his connection was to them. So I'm totally excited for that. The blue blood is such a
We
giveaway
only
though.
have the prequel. I think is coming maybe early 2022,
Yes.
and then the animated series will probably that summer or August or something. So I don't have that long to wait.
The animated series might
I'm
come
sure.
in late next year because he said the filming, I mean, not the filming, the production will wrap up in March next year. So maybe 3 or 4 months after that, because we'll just have the Dieter origin story, you know. So he might want to space them.
Is it going to be the actors are just doing the voice, or will there be some motion capture use, or will there be some kind of animated style like we got to see it in Love, Death, Robots with like a Jordan,
dude.
or maybe in the Blade Runner kind of episode, something like that? What's the animation style going to be? Is it going to be anime or what do you say?
I think they're using the same studio that made you know, some of the high quality games like Mass Effect or something like that. Um,
BioWare?
I'm not sure which one it is, but it is one of the studios that does high end animation, not your traditional 2D
If
anime.
if it does look like that, it will look like a real movie. It will feel like a real
Absolutely.
movie. You know, I wouldn't even mind that much if it's like fully animated. Like
Seeing Joe
I
Manganiello,
don't know, like yeah, it'd be
fucking
cool.
yeah.
It's just like if it's something like the Harley Quinn animated style or any DC movies, it might not be as
Yeah.
appealing. But if it's something that's as realistic as that, then I think you get more of an average audience viewing it.
Yeah. I think it will be anime style. Yes, I thought that too, but I don't think it will be 2D. I think it will have some kind of, because it's Zach, right? And he doesn't do what's already been done. If he's working hard on this animated series, that's a Stone Quarry production, the first ever Stone Quarry animation, and a part of his Army of the Universe. I think he'll go for the high end stuff.
Like the Legends of the Guardians of Gahul or the
Yes,
Guardians of the Legends of Gahul. That animation style was
absolutely.
that,
Yeah,
that wasn't cheap. That wasn't like cheap animation. That was pretty realistic,
yeah,
pretty cool, and very visual. So this is from Zack Snyder. It's not going to be average.
yeah.
So I just looked it up. It's called
Medusa, right? Medusa.
Medusa. Yeah, something like that. Animation
Right.
studio. They've made the Spider-Man game from PlayStation 4, Elder Scrolls, Injustice 2.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
So those are all high end animations.
Yes, I'd say so.
Yeah. So I'm
Awesome.
totally looking forward to that. The first trailer is gonna blow everyone's mind.
Joe Manganiello with a shotgun
Yeah,
or an MK 47 AK-47.
yeah.
I'd say
You know
that.
what? If Zach was dropping all these conspiracy things in the beginning with the two drivers, right? The military guys. He was saying the the original constitution and then the alien, the autopsy, and he was saying all sorts of these stuff, right? Amelia Earhart and all that stuff. What if he also adds MK Ultra into it? You know,
Can I
Be
just
interesting.
add one thing?
go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I because I'm on IMDb looking at. I was searching because of what you were asking about the company name. If you do scroll down into the credits, it does say mocap.
Oh, nice.
So it could be 3D animation, something
You
like
know
that.
what? I think I saw Joe Manganiello post a picture of him in mocap on his Instagram.
Mhm.
So I think yes, he is doing mocap for it.
That'd be cool.
It would. I mean,
Would
he's recreating all his JL ideas in this universe. He probably would be
why
a
not? Why
destructive
not?
character, 100%.
Yeah. And like, there's not like some of these characters that are in the animated show. They could survive that prequel series, and they could end up being
Yeah,
in Army of the Dead 2 or 3, which is cool.
totally. And then we touched on everything here, except the ending. Okay, so now we come into the nuke part, and obviously, uh, Dieter sacrifices himself and pushes Vandero inside. Okay, so before that, we also have the fight with Vandero and Zeus. So the way they are fighting, it seemed like they have history together, right? And Alex also brought that up, and I totally agree with that. It looked like they knew each other, and that's the reason why the square off happened. And I don't know how that is connected, but I think that Zach said that maybe Vandero has some history with the lab, with the experimentation with the garment. So even if they haven't met each other, they probably know of each other, and there's some sort of connection with them from the lab days, I think.
Maybe I think could be something a little bit more like the zombie wars. We never really explored that much.
Hmm.
Maybe they came across each other that way.
But alphas
Maybe
weren't,
uh,
I don't think Zeus was there in that time.
yeah, it wasn't really explained that much. So like it was only really touched on as the zombie wars.
Yeah.
I don't think like was Zeus at the forefront for that either. I don't know either. There was some maybe alphas, but a lot of shamblers
Yeah.
too. So
I think it was just
maybe
Shamblers.
it could be something like King
He was busy
Arthur,
with the queen at
different
that
kind of
time.
yeah. It could be like reimagining. Like they could have met each other in different I don't know different timelines subconsciously
Yeah.
throughout history or
That's
something like there could be
possible.
something like that there
That's possible.
because Van der Rohe is philosophy and things like that. You know, he might have had, for all we know, he could have had visions of this. Zeus, like you just don't know because, like, to be honest, like Van der Rohe was the next Zeus. So who's to say that Zeus didn't have visions of this guy or Van der Rohe didn't have visions of Zeus because they're destined to meet each
So
other.
what you're saying
And
is the
even though
alien-blooded people might have these visions of different timelines,
they could do,
like Bruce
and if
did.
and they were always and they were always destined to meet.
Yes.
And when they met, they thought they were destined to fight. And that was their destiny for either Van der Rohe to win or for Zeus to win. But actually, the ultimate goal was for them to meet, and maybe for Zeus to pass it on to Van der Rohe.
Yeah.
And without them knowing, Van der Rohe carries it on as the next Zeus, the next evolution, so zombies can survive. But Van der Rohe never knew that he was actually going to be the carrier, the next leader of the zombies.
Yeah.
Either did Zeus. But that's why they had to meet in that moment. And that's why the two of them kind of accepted it. Zeus took off his helmet. Van took off his
Gun.
guns and stuff, whatever he had on, and the two of them they fought because that's what they thought they were destined to do. I like that. That's my kind of theory.
So they were playing Tenet the whole time.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what? I came into this live stream thinking that we would talk together and solve some of the theories and make it more understandable. But you keep adding to that.
I just thought out there now. I'm pretty proud of that theory.
Ascendant, what do you think?
Dude, I mean, just to address what you were saying over there about how we came here to like break things down. This is again, there's just not enough to like say go down what it could be. It's just anything and everything it could be.
Yeah.
So
Mephisto could
as
be in
for
this.
go ahead. What'd you say?
Mephisto could be in this.
Right. Yeah, this is his.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, when it comes to Zeus and him fighting Van, maybe he was. I mean, he wasn't trying to rip him apart. You know, he was just trying to bite his ass.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you want to bite him if you're trying to kill him?
Yeah, he was definitely not
So
trying
if
to
that's
kill him.
him, yeah, if that's him looking at himself, a younger version of himself, and he's just like, you know, he knows what he has to do in terms of biting him, and he's like, look, now this way we'll be white.
Yep.
No, but I do think he was just trying to bite him because, again, why wouldn't he just like rip his head off? He has power to do that. So
Because the other alpha just snapped Chamber's neck, and then Zeus speared Lily to the wall as well. No, he kind of, and he was trying.
yeah,
I know
he did.
You know, he so it's hard to know kind of Zeus's thinking behind it all, but I don't think he wanted to kill Van der Rohe.
Nora being impaled
I
on the
agree.
wall like that, and you know, Zeus obviously goes near her neck and the scene cuts. It kind of gave me the impression that she would probably be the next queen, but then it got nuked and everyone supposedly died.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait for that answer too, because we didn't see what happened to everyone else. We just saw that it was nuked.
Or he just wanted to make Van his next queen.
I don't think he just picks random females to be a queen. He picks strong,
Yes,
independent.
exactly.
She stood up to him, and that's why
I think they can sense
one of
who
her
is strong and who is not.
because you don't want to make the next generation of these zombies or your son with a weak human. You know, you want somebody who's strong, who has good genes and something.
But I don't know if they'll think about that kind of stuff.
No, like they don't think, oh, she'd be great. I think because they think like the alphas, like she's basically a human alpha. He'd look like, you know what I mean.
Even in animals, they can sense who an alpha is.
Yeah,
So I think
Yeah,
the zombies can definitely sense who a strong person versus a Cummings
yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
So that does make sense, and we'll have to wait and see. But again, after that, Dieter saves him, and he goes inside the wall. They close. There's a full ass slow motion scene, which means that Zach wants us to, wants us to stay in that moment longer, feel the moment, and also think about the moment. And we of course see the whole safe door shut, and we see Dieter getting taken away by Zeus, but he was never bit, so he probably didn't die. But again, it was nuked, so who knows? But still, Zeus could also have taken him somewhere and hid him, so that's also possible. But the thing about the safe is, again, it goes back to the first time we meet Dieter, and he says it's a doorway to another realm, friend. So that could just be him saying, it's funny way of expressing his love towards the safes, but also it could mean that safe is a metaphorical doorway to a different realm which Van came out in. So there's that, and Van comes out. We talked about the nuclear fallout and stuff. Now we can explore further into the theory that maybe Vandero was Zeus all along. Go ahead, Ascended, since you are the one that brought it up.
I don't know.
You don't have anything to back that up?
I mean, look, it some of these things just it's just not enough, man. Like, can you call Zach? I need to ask him a few questions, okay?
He did answer a few questions on the vodka stream, and that helped us in not throwing away the time thing, because he said that definitely the kingdom has some time related um, some something to have to do with time. He said that there is that definitely involved. He also said that it's most definitely not a video game. It's not happening inside a video game, like Sucker Punch was happening inside her head the whole time. He said that that's not what's happening here. But I would say he didn't say this, but I would say as an extension to that video game thing, I think that it's also not a simulation, because
Yeah,
it it, it would it's the same thing, right? Simulation or video game, it's the same thing.
same thing, same thing. Yeah.
So that's the thing he said. But then he said that there's something happening on the other side of the world in the other movies that links to the time thing that's happening in the kingdom. So that's the only thing he said.
Time isn't passing as normal as it would inside Vegas. Is that what he was hitting that?
He said that time, I don't know the exact words, but he said something like the time operates differently inside the kingdom or something like that. So it's either time dilation, it's either different timelines existing in the same place, it's either a contained time loop, it could be anything. Or it could be that there is a
Really?
doorway inside the vault from which.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that there is I don't believe that there is a doorway in the vault. No way, because then you're just going to another dimension with another timeline. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that that was just his way of talking about, the cool things that he sees in this, right? And I would also say that it's funny that in a certain way Zeus did save Van from,
Yep.
he pulled him away. Maybe he thought, I don't know. And I'm just wondering what was happening on the other side of the world.
Exactly. That's the reason why.
This man.
That's the reason why the more than the sequel, I'm more excited for the animated prequel, because it has all the answers that we want. It has the answer for the aliens. It has the answer for how Zeus became Zeus. It's basically an origin story of the virus outbreak itself. So that will be shown. So it has so many of these things that we want so much from this movie that we didn't get, and we're gonna get that in the animated prequel.
Like there could be, like who knows what's going on over the side of the world, either in the Middle East or China or somewhere. There could be a robot war. There could be the first sighting of aliens. There could be the reason they were bringing Zeus over was to counteract something that was going on across the world.
Yeah.
So we don't know yet, and we might find out in the prequel. The prequel's interesting because I think it's more about the safe, and I think the safe has a bigger part to play in the overall story, especially with Dieter's dialogue about the realms and things like that. Pat White's from the realm. So I think that's what that movie's about. I think the animated series will be about maybe more about the zombies and the government and what they're trying to do, and maybe we get to hear about what's going on across the world, and maybe we get another spin-off about what actually happens across the world, or what happens in Army Day 2 or 3.
Yeah, the prequel movie is just set in Germany, and it will be just contained there. But the animated prequel is the series is it has all the things, all the answers,
and Rose in that as well.
Exactly. So there's a lot of that. So I just am very looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
And Becca here says that I mean they do have the same haircut. That's very interesting to me when I saw the pictures that people posted was that their haircut and the shape of their head it's very similar. And you know the first shot that we get of Zeus, like the close up, who would get a military haircut
Well, I wonder why, like, the if it is him, then why did it make him white? Like,
to throw us off.
that's a genuine question. Like, it made
That's the
him
reason
into
why
a
I
different
don't
color.
want this. I don't buy into this because you know they're played by different race people. But again, that's zombie, so maybe they didn't even have a race. So
I think they're philosophically the same kind of destined for the same thing. Maybe that's why they look like each other. Maybe that's why they move like each other. Maybe that's why they're reverse baptism in a bath. One is with water, one's without water. You know, they're very much the same, the different sides of the same coin, kind of. But, you know, destined for the same thing.
yeah,
Maybe that's why.
they're playing Tenet. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
Um,
also
but
I
yeah,
forgot to say this, but they already have the crashed UFO, right? And obviously they're trying to reverse engineer it. So they have some technology with that. Uh, what if there is some type of technology that would create something that could alter time, you know, even in a small way. So what if that is something they possess, and then Bly uses that? You know, Bly already works with the government, so we know that. So what if Bly is in cahoots with them in using this technology with time to actually, you know, go tell Scott to go get it? And then he also wanted these other things like the head of the Alpha, and he probably also wanted Vandero to survive. So that's also
yeah.
possible.
There's loads of possibilities. Having no answers.
I was just thinking that, you know, how with how they're talking about time dilation and space and stuff and aliens. If there are aliens and they do have alien crafts, then clearly, because I was again going back to the whole thing of they could be aliens from the future or something like that, and they've come here. If they've done that, maybe it's that somehow it's their use, or maybe somehow they mess with the alien craft,
Yeah,
and now they're kind of stuck in a time loop or something like that. Does that make sense?
probably.
I mean, if they can have that kind of technology to come here,
Yeah,
and if they're warping space in a way like a time
yeah,
dilation, then it could be that they somehow trap themselves in like a loop, and maybe they just create a loop where it's just specifically this bit of the world where it's just stuck in the loop. I don't know, but I feel like the loop is going to have something to do with the aliens and their UFOs.
yeah. Maybe the safe.
That's
Maybe the safe is the only place where the time thing doesn't affect it.
And maybe the that's why time goes differently within Vegas because the safe is there,
Yeah,
and the aliens don't want them getting to the safe. Maybe that's why
probably,
it keeps resetting. That's why time goes slower, stuff like that.
probably.
Yeah, that's the
again. I do want to say that if Zach is saying that time there is something with time going on, then it would mean that if you warp space, right? Time and space is mixed,
Yeah,
right? And space is kind of like it's not flat. So that would mean that if they're messing with like the space and time around there, that would mean that time around there could be moving slower, faster, you
yeah.
know?
So they could also have
Yeah.
portals in this universe. Um,
I mean, yeah.
maybe to a different planet, like again, like in Agents of Shield, like they had the um, I forgot what that was
Dude, are
called.
you Tahiti?
No, uh, the one, the black thing that the Simmons jumped into and ended up on another planet.
Oh, the monoliths.
Yes. So I think something like that could be here, you know? Or else, how else would they go on to a different planet in the sequels if they are planning to do that?
Hmm.
Because they don't have the technology to fly
Yeah,
there. It will take
yeah.
years, light years,
Well, this
unless
point,
they're
we
from
might never even
Mars.
see the aliens. We might never see the aliens' home planet. We might just get to see a spaceship with astronauts in space or something, and that's how they come across them. We never even get to see the aliens. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But, interesting. My favorite scene from the movie was when Bandero emerges from the abyss, from the safe, from the nuclear bomb and the cranberries zombie someplace.
Yeah.
He's just walking through, yelling for people. Nobody answers though, and then he finds a car and he drives to Utah.
Mhm.
Is it Utah?
Yeah.
And he sees the plane and he just wants to spend his money and have a good time. And yeah, that whole sequence is my favorite scene from the whole.
That was also funny because the song "Zombie" plays, right? So just apart from its aside from its political meaning, it also has the lyrics in your head, right? So it says in your head and then zombie, right? So it felt like Zach was saying the in your head part to me when I was watching it. So that also felt very meta, and when the song plays, so it could also mean that it's Dak is saying that with a political perspective. So I love the use of that song.
And then even the ending credit songs, such as Minds from Elvis, Caught in a Trance,
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah,
Can't just be coincidence.
yeah.
You know?
So many lines
it
is
just
like,
can't.
come on, I know what you're doing. Oh, and
Yeah.
there's a scene in the opening sequence with the Viva Las Vegas, and there's a line saying uh, when you see it and when you see him and then come out and then something else. There's some line like that, and then the announcer says, "I see what you did there," and I was like, and that happens during the Van der Rohe scene,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah, it's like the singer was watching everything that was going
yeah,
on. Watch out, Elvis.
yeah.
Stuff like
Watch
that.
out, Elvis.
That's why I think like the scene with them holding the photographs of their family, and then
Yeah.
the singer acknowledging what's happening on screen.
Totally.
It's very meta in a way.
Zach loves the
The-
Matrix, so
Yeah.
it could be
The,
some version of that.
I was just gonna say that the song at the end is called "Suspicious Minds."
Oh, interesting.
That's what I said.
Oh, I didn't hear that. But
It's okay. No, yeah, I love that song. Do you know when you watch a movie and you associate a certain song with that movie?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like that song was used in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino's one.
Yeah.
So when it like appears in a movie so close together that's come out, I'm just like thinking, oh, all I'm thinking about is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's, I
The
think it was
Suspicious Minds
it
thing.
was cool. Yeah,
Okay.
I would have liked maybe the ending song to be Johnny Cash. When the man comes around, but he already used that for the opening of Dawn
Yeah.
on the day. That talks about the Four Horsemen and a man came in a pale white horse, and
Yeah.
his name was Death and stuff like that. But he already used that, so I would have used it again.
So yeah, it's such an amazing thing that we are talking about this movie itself. It's like we got two big Zack Snyder movies in one year, and that's just my dream, for so many years that I was wishing for Zack to make some original movies after seeing Sucker Punch, and we finally got it. And now it's not just one movie; it's a fucking universe. So that's just
Yeah.
amazing.
Funny how he had two films he directed, and he's also a producer. The producing credits for the Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman 1984 as well. Even though he wasn't directing with those movies, it's still cool to see Zack's name on movies again.
And I love that in this movie there are so many there are too many conspiracy stuff in this world, right? With aliens, autopsies, MK Ultra, and all that shit. Well, maybe he's he's trying to get all of that in this universe. It would be awesome if he did that, you know.
Yeah.
And then people
Awesome.
will call him even more of a nut.
Yeah. This is Netflix's MCU, DCU. This is their big thing now, I think.
Yeah.
They're going to slowly build it up. And Zach will get freedom, so it's cool. You can associate a universe with Netflix now. Not now, but eventually you will.
I also love that this movie didn't have as much forced universe things, like Man of Steel. Even Man of Steel was like a standalone movie when it came out. We didn't know anything about Darkseid or Batman or anything like that, right? There was just one Easter egg of Wayne Industries. That's it, and nothing else. So it's good to have the first movie be kind of like a standalone, but also have some hidden hints, but not full on, universe building movie. So if people buy into it, it happens. If they don't, then it doesn't. So it's cool that people are liking this, and I think that the prequels will make people appreciate this movie even more.
We'll do, yeah, hopefully. And won't be too long before the next one comes out, anyways.
Yeah. Anyway,
I
Ascendant,
do
do
hope
you have?
that
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say I do hope that whenever the next ones come out, dude, it's just gonna be like a breath of fresh air. And I'm glad that Zach is finally getting what he wants.
Yeah.
To be able to do it his way,
Mhm.
because you know for a fact that Netflix doesn't mess with people like that. They're more of a financer. They make the stuff, they bring the cash, and they put it on their streaming service. That's pretty much how they work. And I very much like that. So I'm glad for Zach. I'm very happy to see that he's got so much stuff coming from this one franchise, essentially.
And it's the most marketed Netflix movie of all time, and it's the most successful Netflix movie of all time at the box office. And maybe that will carry over into the maybe number one movie ever on Netflix. But it doesn't have to be. It's cool how they back the movie.
Out of curiosity, do you know how much this made at the box office?
No, but it didn't open that many theaters. It only opened like 600 here to like
I think we'll know
2,500.
we'll know about it in the coming weeks or something. But because it definitely is a factor that they will consider going forward for their own movies. If they have to do that for a Nolan movie or something like that. They definitely did experiment with this movie, so based on the results, they might want to. The only thing that I don't see theatrical releases for Netflix being a norm is because when movies release on Netflix, maybe they can have their own theaters later on, or maybe that's the plan. But then for now, when movies release on Netflix, every bit of income that comes from that goes to Netflix. When the movie is released theatrically, firstly, it's divided because of the marketing money and the talent money and the budget of the movie, and then it's divided between the theater and the distributor. The streamer. So Netflix in the end doesn't get as much profit if the movie is not super successful. So the margin of profit is very less if streaming services release movies in theaters.
I think the reason they did it for Scorsese and for Snyder and if Nolan eventually is more of an artistic thing for them. They respect them as artists, so they want to give them that kind of run in theaters as well. I don't think they'll. I think that's why they do it. Out of respect, I think that's why they do it. So that's fair enough.
Yeah, and for Oscars, I think.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it needs to play in a certain amount of theaters in Los Angeles, New York, for it to be eligible for the Oscars. That's why they do it as well.
Yep.
So, well, would we leave it there?
Yeah. Unless Ascended, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean That's pretty much it. I think it's a pretty great film. I think there's just so much more to it, and I think there's going to be so much more coming down the line.
Yeah,
Pretty much it.
I'm totally excited for that as well. And thank you for
100%.
joining us, man. It has been a great pleasure. And we already talked
at all,
so
man.
much online, so it was cool to have on our show.
Well, thank you for having me, man. Because I wanted to come on before as well,
Yeah,
but it's good to be here, and yeah, thanks for having me.
my pleasure.
Yeah.
Where can the
Awesome. And oh yeah, sorry, I was jumping ahead. With that. Go ahead.
yeah, where can they find you, son?
They can find me on Twitter at Ascended Ancient. I have some funny tweets, and that's about it.
Yeah, and Ascended and
Yeah.
I sometimes also play Rocket League, when we are bored. So,
Yeah.
if you want, you can
Yeah, we
you
do
can
that.
join us there. It's fun.
Yeah, usually.
And I never get invited.
Listen, buddy, we invited you, okay, but you were sleeping, so.
I didn't see the message.
But yeah, we do the streams. It's pretty fun. It's actually a really fun game.
Yeah.
And either me or Casey will share the link and definitely come by.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I watched this a few minutes ago. Pretty funny. Yes, he's pretty shit at that though. But yeah,
He
Thanks,
scores
everybody.
a lot into his own goal.
thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe as well. Our weekly news show will be this Saturday, where we talk about all the latest TV, movie news, reviews, opinion pieces in the world of movies. Full breakdown with guests. We have 2 guests this Saturday again, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. And also, after each stream, we have little clips of the topics we talked about, and we upload them as well. So if you keep an eye on the channel, there's some good stuff there. So
Yeah, if you missed out on the live stream, you can always check out the short clip that we upload of the topics that are interesting to you. So make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Is that how they say? And so yeah, do all that stuff, and you can find me at Krypton Cage on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Vero, everywhere.
yeah, and you can follow the Real Talk Live Instagram and Twitter pages as well for all the latest movie news and TV news. We upload it, or we post it as quick as we can, so you guys can get the information, and also links to our channels and new videos pop up there too. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Movies That Matter. Or the other way. I don't know which way is the arrows from.
Yeah. So thank you for joining Ascended, and thank you for joining everyone. It was a pleasure talking to you all and diving deep into Army of the Dead. Cheers. See you in the next episode.